they're definitely looking to change the story this week. Very close matchup last week between Decoys and Orion Wanderers. Just did not go in Orion's favor at the very end. Little mistakes here and there, starting out a team fight, maybe getting a quick pick on the side of Decoys and just leaving them with not much to follow up in those team fights. So, of course, we've seen a lot of really great action in Ignite this weekend so far as they get into week number 2. But we are here to look at who you may be seeing in 2026 taking the Ignite stage or taking the MRC stage as well. So, that's what a league like this is really all about. It's all about developing those skills and building a reel for yourself, really, so you can shop it to an org that may be ready to sign you so you can get access to those resources. So, I think 100%. Actually both of the first matches here happening round 1 are both rematches. On the other side, we're also seeing SBA and Dawncore play against each other, though we're going to be watching Decoys and Orion. So, Bullet, I think we've seen lately in Ignite, we've seen some more interesting plays. Ego Death on the NA side has been playing a lot of off-meta stuff. We saw some interesting picks from them, a lot of Venom plays. We saw Spider-Man for a while. I'm kind of curious to see what we're going to see today from these teams.
I feel like for this side of Ignite, it all becomes down to the best of the best teams trying to go for the best of the best strats. And it's all about how they want to experiment from their side. But yeah, that is the kind of a stage where you cannot afford experiment. You can get caught off and you can get destroyed by opponent team like anything. But I feel like here at MRGR, there are like more, I would say, these opportunity for experimentation. I would say more opportunities for try out different kind of like a hero combination coming up from their side. Talking about the side of last week, it was more of like a mirror composition every round that you need a couple of set of the strategies coming on here where you at least need 2 tanks. Of course, it all comes down. We did saw actually one of the team actually playing a lot and depending a lot on the flyer meta. Right now, of course, we'll get into the hero pick. We do see an Emma. This of course going to be the ban system being in play. We do see the teams going in for their first ban, of course, and after that will be their first save as well. We do see Magneto getting banned from both sides, and this first save coming up from the side of Orion will be Emma Frost.
Yeah, and she's really been in any competitive rivals right now. She's really been basically a pick or ban almost 100% across the board. Yeah. Of course, Orion taking advantage of their first save being on the red side of this advanced ban system. But we see Decoys responding, saying, "Okay, you guys going to take Emma Frost? Well, so do we." So we're going to be seeing a lot of psionic seductions. I'm sure throughout this first match here as we head to Hell's Heaven for some domination action. Bullet, I feel like this map is named very appropriately because I think for teams, this map is either hell or it's heaven. Some teams have a lot of success here, and some teams really struggle. So, gonna be fun to watch them go at it here on this for the first map of the matchup.
Both the teams actually banning Loki. Oh, this might be an interesting one, but it means for the fact that they definitely. Either it kind of depends, man. Even if with Loki, you can actually rely with 2 hero composition. I've seen that play kind of happening in the EMA region from our Rebel series, our Rebel Ignite series previously. But right now, it's going to be also an Ultron save coming up from side of Ivan Decoys. Okay, this is getting very interesting. Now, to answer that conversation which you asked about the map, I feel like this map is great for utility plays coming up from the side of Penny Parker. This map is one great map for all the divers being into play, whether it's be divers from the duelist category, whether it's be the divers from the Vanguard category. We do see Glance J hovering up to the Thor pick. We do see Effort playing on the Magic right now. Not really confirmed, but it's more of like the entire diver composition coming up from the side of 1 Decoys. And I'm pretty sure by taking a look at the map, and they have gone ahead with this kind of composition. Now, we do see another ban coming up, and they want to save up the side of Cloak and Dagger, and one last hero ban remaining from the side of 1 Decoys. They have saved up Ultron. They saw that they are saving up the Ultron. They do notice for a fact that they might go for a team up being in play between the side of Ultron and Iron Man. They do ban the side of Iron Man. So this was more of a target and pick ban coming up from the side of Orion. So it will be a really interesting one, and they will be kind of like playing in the Vengeance style that, hey, you defeated us in the previous one, we're gonna get to you in this week's rematch.
Yeah. And a really smart a final ban from Decoys there, rounding it out with a Punisher ban. Of course, they're locking in an Ultron and a Human Torch as well, so they do want to stop that hit scan from being able to control the sky. I feel like Hell's Heaven maybe not as tall ceilings as some other maps, Yggdrasil Path. I feel like Midtown is another one, but I do see a lot of success with the flyer meta here. on Hell's Heaven. And like you said, there is some success for divers here too. There's a lot of nooks and crannies that a nice Wolverine or a Black Panther can come darting out of and not give you much opportunity to defend. Interestingly, Greg, who we saw put in a lot of work on Vanguard last week in this the first time these two teams met, he is going to be picking the Thor. So I do believe they're playing on the most current patch as of 48 hours ago. Thor did get some buffs, so maybe a little bit of an X factor for Orion Wander here. Got to wonder how much has Decoys played or scrimmed against Thor players, especially considering how strong he was before.
Yeah, definitely he was strong, but it did require you a lot of the brain work, actually. Don't get me wrong, in terms of, just timing out your awakened state pretty well. Right now, of course, I'm pretty sure that this entire game is getting played on the latest patch-up, like you told. It's going to, it kind of like, in my opinion, changes how you actually play Thor entirely. Right now, you can just like disable the awakened state after, like a couple of seconds. I'm pretty sure it's like 1.2 or 1.5 seconds as soon as you go. So you can actually target the backline like crazy. Coming up with the entire dive ability from the side of Thor. We do see the side of Thor actually being the front side over here, making sure nobody comes up from the side of Orion Wander, trying to battle out the Emma Frost as he gets the chance. Over there, it's going to be the side of Invisible Woman, just making sure that she doesn't get targeted by any of the duelists being in play from the side of Orion Wander. Because right now, see very low on HP. That's going to be the first couple of kills coming up from the side of Duck Awesome. Lagoon gets one more. A third Human Torch is going to get the third, and it is going to be an actual wipe. Coming up from the side of 1v1 Decoys, 3 or 4 heroes just getting wiped out in a matter of a couple of seconds.
Yeah, really, really nice stuff from Decoys. The story from last week starting to repeat itself already. We saw Decoys getting picks on Et level, taking out some of their healing right away, and then Decoys would capitalize on that, initiating the team fight right away. We saw the exact same thing here. Almost a perfect ace for Decoys. They take point number 1 and already marching on to 25% of capture progress as they look to lock Orion down right out of the gate here. Decoys did show a lot of strength on domination last week too, and they are just continuing to show that here as we are moving to a more neutral game. No ults up that right now. Maybe ult economy very slightly favoring Decoys as they do find effort out of the sky. The Human Torch knockdown, and Duck follows as well. So Orion here finally clapping back a little bit, getting a few hits here as we approach 50% of the first point being captured on the side of Decoys. But they're charging up some ults, and here we go. Greg with the first Thor ult of the match immediately finds a KO. Really nice pick from him, and showing that maybe those Thor buffs were exactly what he needed to make himself more competitively viable, but not enough to knock Decoys off yet. They still have control, 65%, and they're still moving.
They're still moving in the right path. They're still making sure nobody comes up near to their backline. That's gonna be another wipe reset coming up for the side of Orion Wander. They gotta take this time to think what different things can be approached from from their side. I mean, this is a very small map. This is not exactly the map where you can play a lot of the flyers coming into your play. And like I said, this is the perfect map to actually play divers and play utilities like Penny Parker. Now for the side of Orion Wander, we do see the ultimates being ready. Emma Frost, everybody is gonna just pop on their ult when they get a chance to do so, and that's gonna be the first ult coming up from the side of Emma Frost, just making sure the side of Ultron gets wiped out, and that's gonna be the second ult from the side of Cloak and Dagger. That's going to be a counter coming up from the side of Invisible Woman. That's going to be a whole lot of action. Hela goes on for the first one. He takes out the side of Invisible Woman. That's going to be a second one coming up from the side of Thor as well. There was a very possible chance for a retake, and that's going to happen for sure.
Yeah, great stuff from Halev there, opening up with the first psionic seduction of many, I'm sure, that we're going to see on this map alone. But the rest of Orion Wanderer following up with several ults, and they're still holding on to a couple. A retake is really important, and it's all about, using the right amount of resources to capture that point. But the question becomes, what do you do once you take control of that point? The answer for Orion seems to be an invisible barrier and a supernova that they're both holding on to. Greg over 50% recharge on that Thor ult, but Decoys does have a little bit of resources in their back pocket too. That Ultron ult for the sustain on the team as well as the high damage. But Aurora is going to go ahead and throw out that supernova. We saw some crazy plays from him last game, expecting much of the same, trying to flank up on Decoys to maintain control of this point, marching up to 35% captured so far, but Decoys sitting on 99. The margin of error is incredibly small for Orion here. They have to make some plays, and plays they are making, knocking out the psionic seduction for Duck. No big plays there, still maintaining control as they are almost halfway to capturing point number 1 here on Hell's Heaven.
Yeah, stopping your opponent team at 99%, puts up a lot of the statement that in play that you are completely kind of like being dependent on the ultimate side, but that's gonna be the Thor just diving onto the face of Invisible Woman that she is gonna get taken on. Almost second pre-support coming up from the side of Orion for a couple of seconds. Now we do see targeting the side of Human Torch, but he's got a back off for a little bit because he's very low in HP. And I love to see the Captain America being in play, just making sure that he's able to divert the entire focus from the side of Orion Vander. Is doing a really good job of in the same way to just deviate the entire focus. That's going to be Cloak and Dagger with the sheer amount of that IQ play coming up from their side. It's going to just quickly get turned into Cloak, make sure that he doesn't get the effect from the Thor's ultimate. That's going to be a retake coming up from the side of Orion. Deco is a great pick indeed. It makes the entire stoppage at 81% from the side of Orion. The Doctor Strange portal comes into the play. It's going to stop for a little while. The Cloak and Dagger ult is going to also happen pretty soon, but that is going to get deteriorated. Now Invisible Woman gets get respawned and Rival now has the ult, and that's going to be the Cloak and Dagger ult. He's making sure the overtime stays alive, and this is going to be a second ult also being in play. Possibly that was from the side of when we decoys that was that, and she's gonna do a lot of that support from his side. Oh boy.
Yeah, really great team fight from Decoys. They finally were able to make that retake, and now just a sliver of overtime left for Orion Wanderer. An amazing Doctor Strange portal put them back in this fight, but Orion is not giving up yet. They are throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, but 4 members of Orion go down, leaving Decoys with an opportunity here to push the last remaining members off. Only 1 left standing, and it's not enough. Decoys will capture point number 1. Incredible plays. The very first matchup of the day, the first point, and we're already seeing this insane back and forth. Bullet, I feel very privileged to be here on this match. It's
same
great
here,
to see,
man.
especially with Greg making plays on Thor already. Trying to show his value now after those nice buffs.
I mean, that was at least 7 ults being in play from both sides. That was first from this, coming on from the descending side. That was the last one coming on from the side of Emma. Before that, it was the side of Lagoon to put up that counter. Then it was from the side of, the Orion Wonder playing on the Cloak and Dagger. Then, of course, if I'm not wrong, it was also an ult coming up from the side of Human Torch, because right now his ult is at 25%. It means for a fact that it was used in the very later stages of the matchup. Sorry, not Human Torch. That was coming up from the side of Emma Frost. So it was more of like 5 or 6 ults being played in the overtime, but it was all about the initial advantage, the initial momentum, where 1v1 Decoys was just able to put up the entire stoppage, put up the entire the round and the objective getting scored at 99%. So Orion Winder needs up a little bit of that change coming up to the play, and we do see Orion Winder Kevin Hawk is going to play with the Psylocke. And again, Psylocke being one of the, I would say, right now the off-meta character, but she's still very much effective in these kind of like maps.
Yeah, we're definitely not seeing Psylocke plays as much as we did in the earlier days of Marvel Rivals, but Kavev is gonna attempt to make some plays here. We are already in a team fight on the point as it opens up. Everybody's fighting on the point. Waldo on Captain America looking pretty low. He goes down. Frontline for Decoys is struggling a little bit here as Orion Wanderer is looking to make the first cap on this one, showing a lot more momentum right out of the gate here. Orion Wanderer comes out swinging, and that's not exactly characteristic of them that we saw last week. Of course, they really struggled to interrupt the Decoys' momentum, and a triple kill for Greg, finishing him off with a nice sweep from Molnir there. Incredible stuff. I haven't seen a lot of Thor, so this is great to see. Really almost like a brand new hero for me in terms of at least competitive rivals, but they are able to make that first capture, and 4 ults, almost a 5th one from Halev there. That Psionic Seduction going to be ready to go. The Decoys, of course, is going to be looking to make this thing a fight with 3 ults and maybe a 4th one with that invisible barrier for KNG almost charged up. But yeah, they're really looking to find a foothold in this match, which is something I feel like we haven't seen Decoys struggle with too much. They're really good at the early retakes, and there we go. The ults are already flying. Glance with the Ultron ult, putting down some massive damage from the sky to keep his team alive as well. All the support ults from Decoys are coming out. So much sustain. Orion Wanderer cannot put any damage down on them, and they are dropping like flies here on the point as Decoys looks for that first capture on the second.
A little bit of the misplay coming up from the side of Psylocke. That ultimate could have actually wiped up the entire support play coming up from the side of 1v1 Decoys. Just a little bit of that, I would say, the positional play not being very on point from the side of Psylocke. I mean, they need to figure out something about that. But coming up from the side of 1v1 Decoys, we have seen them doing it the same in the previous week, and they are able to execute the same in week number 2 as well. Them out now Frost with the third pick, the fight coming up in this second round coming up from their side. That's going to be the ultimate coming up from the side of Emma Frost. That's going to be a double now coming up from the side of Orion Wonder. That's going to be entire 4 plays. What just happened? Wow.
Well, you know, they used so many support ults. They used Ultron, Cloak and Dagger, and Invisible Barrier just to make that retake, and had absolutely nothing left to follow it up with. So, like we were talking about, you know, it's all about, you know, holding on to resources, keeping something in your back pocket to throw out when Orion Wanderer starts threatening the retake like they did there. 60% captured for Orion Wanderer so far, and they, so far in week 2 here of the MRGR, they are looking amazing.
Yeah, second retake. Now the another push needs to get stopped out from the side of Orion 1, and this is what they need actually. That's going to be a double from the side of Emma Frost, and both the tanks making the charge up go all pretty well. Captain America just starting out the entire HP of Thor, making sure he gets the little bit of the support as well. And Captain America, with some of the changes coming up in the previous patches, is going to make him a really an S tier tank coming up in these kind of like competitive matches. That is going to be the Earl from the silo, which was really kind of needed. That's going to be Captain America just getting diminished off for a little while. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Orion Wanderer now in a pretty good position play, pretty good, I would say, a stance, and pretty good momentum. They are going to get this around. Maybe I spoke too soon, because that's going to be a portal being in play from the side of Doctor Strange. But before that, that will be Orion Wanderer taking up the second round here at Captures Hellhaven.
Wow, for the second time we saw a Strange portal at the last second to try and extend the overtime, but this time the story plays out a lot differently, just not enough time after the respawn to get there. So really, really nice stuff from Orion. The stats will tell you a lot about how this match is going. They're looking a lot more even now than they were after that first point, but effort, of course, with the 18 elims and 9 final hits. But Greg on the Vanguard, Thor, 17 elims and 11 final hits, putting down a very impressive amount of damage, the most damage for his team. So, you know, Thor looking a little bit off tankish right now, really putting down some extra DPS effort. Of course, we saw some insane plays from Aurora last week too, so expecting much of the same. And yeah, Orion Wanderer seems like they're firing on all cylinders now.
100%. I mean, for the side of Thor, because I do play some of the Thor here and there when it's required, because I mean, that is how you actually approach Thor. Like, he is a dive which has a great maneuverability coming up alongside on the same, I would say, the lines of Hulk, because we do see now Hulk getting picked up from the side of Waldo. He has taken off the Captain America, and that Hulk can actually cause a lot of trouble for the backline, because the dive ability coming up from his side is just crazy. He just can leave the entire map off and just make sure that he is out of the entire, I would say, the Specky situation as soon as possible. That's going to be the ultimate coming from the side of Ultra. That's going to be countered from the invisible movement as well. Not a lot of effective play can happen from the side of Ultron's ult, and he needs to back off from the fight as well, but that's going to be Hull getting taken out as soon as possible. Now Orion Wanderer in a great momentum play takes out the side of Emma Frost. Duck Awesome goes down. That's going to be Orion Wanderer ready up with the Cloak and Dagger ult. Greg is also ready with his ult, so possibly the ults can be get targeted onto the side of Hulk, or maybe onto the side of Cloak and Dagger coming up from the side of 1-1 decoys, because Waldo is still alive on the banner form, so they need to make sure they're able to take him out as soon as possible, because he's going to get transformed into the main Hulk guy pretty soon now. But that's going to be Human Torch taking out the side of Waldo. I mean, on how some of these compositions are getting interchanged on the same, I would say, the category of the duelist and the category of Vanguard, that's I would say a really great adaptive nature coming up from the side of 1-1 decoys. But for the side of Orion Wanderer, they have set their tone, they have set their positional play so good they're able to counter out every other pick coming up from the side of 1-1 decoys.
Yeah, I was going to say, really good stuff from decoys as well, holding on to a couple of those support ults instead of just throwing them all out there at once. Really nice communication and teamwork there. Orion Wanderer absolutely bullying Glance on the Ultron, keeps taking him out of the sky. And Aurora with the Human Torch ult, looking to just try and maintain control at this point. Almost 50% with no contention yet from decoys. They haven't quite made it there yet. Another kill for picks up a double on effort. Flame on for effort as he's picking up a lot of kills here so far. Really good stuff. The decoys DPS is really picking it up, and they'll finally manage to take him out. And it looks like decoys are finally looking to contest that point, even though Orion Wanderer is still really strong hold on that. Of course, Greg showing his versatility, showing us even more Vanguard play. He is insane on the Groot. We've seen him on almost every Vanguard in the game by now, and he just continues to impress. So, you know, they have a huge gem on their team there for sure. Duck with the Psionic Seduction, looking to try and turn the tide here, so decoys can finally make this capture they've been struggling to get here. Orion Wanderer continues the march towards this capture here, 85%. Waldo with the Monster Hulk looking to dive on in and make a difference here, make some kind of game changer to get decoys back in the game, as we see a complete shift from point number 1 to point number 3.
There you go. Sylock was trying out to take out the side of Invisible Woman with that. Sylock's not gonna happen as he was able to just get out the entire space as soon as possible. That's gonna be no more ults being in play, so it's gonna be anyone's game right now. Orion with really great stance, 99% over time is in play. We do see Invisible Woman getting a target from the duelist coming up from the side of Decoys, and that's gonna be the ult from the side of Thor. Maybe gets a double, and he will get it. That's gonna be a kill off on the side of Hulk. That's gonna be a portal one more time, getting denied, and that's gonna be a great comeback in the first round coming up from the side of Orient. I mean, how they kind of like just decided to play alongside the side of Greg, who was just doing so much value, providing that kind of like a value coming up with the Thor plays was just too good. And there we go. That's going to be the MVP coming up for the side of Greg. I really want to look at the elimination. He's at 25-4. I mean, 25 coming up from a Vanguard tells a lot about his stance, tells a lot about the kind of like a mindset that they want to play on. Looking at the number of the stats, look at his damage blocked, 25,000. And that's really good for the amount of the duration he has been alive for the entire game. I mean, for the side of Helef as well, playing really good on the role from the side of Emma Frost, but I wanted to see the same kind of like a stance coming up from the side of Sylock as well. I mean, she is at 20 elimination. That's pretty good. But for now, on how they have just like playing the classic composition that you play in some of these rank games, you put your vanguards on the front line, you put your duelists trying to just target out the entire back line coming up from the opponent team. Now, when I do say target the back line, we did saw a couple of great effort being laid down from the side of effort, playing on the human torch. Every now and then we knew in for the fact that that team is not able to move in, target the break on the entire momentum play coming in from the side of Orient. He was the guy just taking out both the supports, Invisible Woman and Cloak and Dagger, whenever he was just able to do so. He was right upon their sleeves, right upon on the face of the duel, on the face of the healers, to just take him out so his entire team can move on to the opponent team. Even though that will be I would say still a great, a comeback coming up after the first round from the side of Orient Wonder to take up round number 1 in their side.
Yeah, absolutely. They righted the ship. First point was a little bit of a struggle for them for sure, kind of showing us similar plays as we saw last week, really struggling to kind of get things going, but absolutely turned things around by the end. And like we said, textbook execution of the 2-2-2 100%. Team comp, letting Greg kind of take point and get in there, eat all that damage up. And as we saw, most eliminations in the match, most final hits in the match. I mean, absolutely just a dominant performance from him on that Thor. Like we talked about at the beginning of the match, a little bit of an X factor, right? We haven't seen a lot of Thor in this level of competition or in Ignite or anything really at this level for rivals yet. So really great, I think, pick for them. And now I have to wonder, Orion Wanderers. Are we going to be seeing a Thor ban as we move into map number
100%.
2 from Decoys? Do they want to fight that? You think 100%? Okay.
100%. 100%.
I could definitely see it. Like we talked about a pick ban system like this. I mean, it opens the opportunity for, okay, Greg played that Thor really well. But the question is, you ban the Thor, and he's got 3 or 4 other Vanguards that he can go to that he plays just as well on. So how do you stop this tank? How do you stop Greg? I'm lucky that I'm not in this match because I don't have an answer.
I'm not sure about what map is going to be for the second map between these two fine teams, but I'm pretty sure that in these kind of like a close down maps where like Hell's Heaven and when you have the Venom map as well in the game, I feel like a lot of these composition coming off are like tanks like Venom coming up from tanks like, even I would say I might put Doctor Strange in the same category as well, because he can actually just go up in the air and just make sure that he is not getting targeted by any one of them for a brief period of time. But for sure, on a snake, I would say a snake or a swift draft system of ban coming up in this game, I feel like this is why there's like a ban system like this. If they're able to take out Thor, yes, Greg can actually play Emma Frost. We did saw Helev on the same role. We did saw Emma Frost pick very early from the side of 1-1 Decoys as well. But right now, one thing that is supremely missing from the side of 1-1 Decoys is possibly their duelist taking up that fight up on the face, like both the duelists doing the kind of like a same kind of like a play from their side. But for the side of Orient Wonder, it was like a completely textbook execution. They had 2 Vanguards doing their job, making sure that their strategists are puzzle. In my opinion, what's that puzzle? It's more about duelists picking up some more damage. Don't get me wrong. I want to see their duelists just making sure that they're appearing on the kill feed as soon as we do see them. Right now, folks, let's take a look at week number 1 standing. That was Downcore with a total score of 12-0, game count of 6-0, set count of 3-0. I mean, Downcore, when decoys have been been on top of their game since the entire week has started, for sure.
Yeah, basically Dawncore has kind of proven themselves to be almost like the Virtus Pro equivalent in MRGR.
Yeah.
They have some expert map knowledge. I mean, we saw them taking advantage of every single choke point and every single opportunity to lock down their opponents and basically create a no sweat game for them. So yeah, no surprise that they're still rocking the 3-0 undefeated so far. Curious to see though how teams will adapt, in a series like this where we're having this competition week by week and we're seeing these teams kind of come back together for a lot of rematches up until the end of the month. It gives you a lot of opportunity to go back to the drawing board. So again, another big play here for your coaching and your management staff to say, okay, we need to review the tape. We saw these guys compete. We saw them do, basically what I would say is almost perfect execution of playing the map to your advantage. So, how do we respond to that? Is it the team comp? Is it our own environmental strategies? What do we do to try and turn, right the ship or turn things around? Orion Wanderers, 1-2 overall on the series so far, but showing a lot more promise in that first map against decoys there. Both 1v1 squads, as you can see, walking away with a 2-1. We witnessed the matchup last week between Dawncore and Eclipse. Really, really amazing set for sure, but that was the one that Eclipse lost last time. So as the series progresses, I think things will evolve, and in the way that it's built, the way that the format is built, it's almost like it creates a meta within itself. We'll see these teams preparing things to go against each other specifically when okay, next week we're going to have to be playing against these guys all over again. How do we respond here? So we are moving on to map number 2. We are headed to Spider Islands for some convoy action. Interesting choice here. We did see decoys opt for a lot of the flyers last game. I'm curious to see if they're going to try that again. Ceiling's a little higher here, a little more open, and a lot more opportunities for them to rain hellfire down from above. So I'm very interested to see how this pick and ban phase goes. And so far, Bullet, it looks like almost the exact same as map number 1.
I mean, for me, it is one of my favorite maps. It is one of my favorite maps to cast on. It is one of my favorite maps to play competitive on. But right now, folks, coming up with the ban, we do see Emma Frost getting protected from both sides. Okay. Coming up to just, mark up the point from the side of 1v1 decoys. We saw 1v1 decoys actually playing with just one tank. It was not the same from the side of Orion Wonder in the first round. Maybe there was like a little bit of the communication gap coming on from their side. I'm not sure what happened in the first round that Orion Wonder was not able to pick off the entire fight with 2 tanks being in the composition. It was sad of 1v1 decoys to get over round number 1 just with one single tank. And that was not like a very big tank or a bulky tank like a Thor, like a Doctor Strange, which can just block off the entire, I would say, the attacking player coming from the opponent team. It was just Captain America just running around and doing the set piece damage on the face of the strategists being in play. Right now, we do see in this matchup is going to be Punisher getting protected from the side of 1v1 decoy. So we might see some more hit scan based duelists coming up alongside the side of Punisher. Maybe Hela, maybe Punisher being in play altogether. But right now, we do see also just one more protection being left out from the side of Orion Wander. So we might see an Thor protection because Greg has been just absolutely killing it with the Thor pick, and that's going to be actually an invisible movement. Okay, it's a strange one, to be honestly speaking. I'm not able to read what kind of composition they might want to take with invisible woman getting protected. Emma Frost makes sense. Punisher makes sense. But are you going to do the clobbering time alongside invisible woman? That's why what your strategy is. We shall see.
Yeah, very, very good question. I can't remember if last week I saw Greg take the thing or not. I would not be surprised if I saw him do it, though. He's played almost every Vanguard in the game. Wow. Kavev locking in that Black Panther very quickly. No questions there. And we're back on Thor, of course. Interestingly, the Punisher save not going to deter Orion Wanderer from at least taking the Iron Man into this match. But not as many flyers out here so far. So maybe going to be seeing a completely different matchup, really, from decoys. I do see the Adam Warlock getting locked in. So finally, the triple support Adam Warlock res comp that we've seen so many times probably in your own ranked games and mine as well. So very interesting change up for this map. I noticed Greg does go back to Thor, but Waldo is taking the thing, so they're actually going to go for it. I'm a little surprised by that, to be honest.
Actually, there's going to be two team-ups getting activated from the side of one, but Deacons, they actually kind of need one, because when you're trying to just protect the convoy, respawns are kind of like far off compared to what attacking team is on. So you kind of need that rescom being in play. Coming up, talking about the vanguards, we do only see again as a straight up like a two vanguards, two tanks getting blocked off from the side of one decoys. They don't want to repeat the same mistake, because you actually need more of these vanguards. Don't get me wrong, I have played some of the matches where I have actually shouted out that the entire team that, hey, if you're not able to pick up the duelist, that, hey, if you're not able to just stop the entire convoy, just go ahead with 3 strategists and 3 tanks. Sometimes it actually works, sometimes it doesn't. It totally depends on the entire team team coordination. But right now I do see 1v1 decoys, apologies, working on their mistakes. We did saw them actually just playing with the one tank that was another dive based like tank coming up with something like Captain America. They are actually working on it, and for like a mode like convoy, you actually need at least 2 tanks to just stop up the entire play. Coming up for the flyer strategies, this is actually a map which kind of like a mixed up, I would say, a support play coming up for dive based, I would say, duelist, something like Black Panther. It is the kind of like a map where you can actually just just finish off your entire opponent with something like a Black Panther. And this is like a perfect map for Iron Man as well. There's too many high-rise I would say, structures which can protect you from all of the attacks coming up from your opponent team. But right now we do see a 1v1 decoys playing up pretty well. Not exactly. It's going to be side of Orion Wander to actually wipe off. And that's going to be Kevin Hawk doing a lot of the damage onto backline. Everybody from the rescom has been eliminated from the side of Black Panther. And that is going to be first objective point getting reached up pretty soon. What, in less than, I would say, 50 seconds, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah, really shockingly quick offensive plays here from Orion Wander. We missed the beginning there. We jumped right into the middle of the action. But a minute and 30 off the clock, and Orion Wander is already hitting that first checkpoint. 5 minutes on the clock for them as they wipe the floor with decoys, and they are really on the move here. They were not expecting the Black Panther plays. Kavev, really strong stuff there. Maybe inspired a little bit by Self from Ego Death in Ignite, perhaps. But making his own clips on Black Panther here. Yeah. And like you were saying, the double team up on the side of decoys, with like you said, the clobbering time, and it looks like they're not gonna stick with the Adam Warlock, the triple res glance swapping off of Star-Lord onto the Punisher. So already looking to play more versatility and kind of change up that strategy really quick. It's already not working for him. Orion Wander almost halfway up the track here, 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, as they are looking to keep this card moving and try and keep decoys pushed off of his team to just allow as much open space as possible to keep pushing.
There we go. The Mantis gets popped off immediately as soon as he just clocking that ult coming up from her side. That's going to be 1v1 decoys getting wiped out for the 2nd time in a row. Probably 3rd time, because we rejoined after a couple of bits. But Black Panther and Iron Man are just doing absolutely what's necessary when you pick up that kind of like a hero from your side. They are just making sure nobody from this other 1v1 decoy stays alive. I mean, especially coming off from the healers and the duelists. I mean, of course, Vanguard takes some time because they have like 400, 500 HP being in from their side. Now we do see the thing just starting out the side of Black Panther. That's going to be Human Res up and pulling while that support. This might be the play where Orion Wander can get picked off, but not going to happen. Everybody just straight up just kind of like dominating. Yeah, that will be the right word right now for me to use, unless this is going to be the 2nd checkpoint getting clocked out from the side of Orion Wander, and they have like 4 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock. This is way too much time left on their side to just even though they are like if they are like kind of like taken out from the side of 1v1 because for a couple of times, they have too much time in hand to make sure that this reaches down to the 3rd checkpoint.
Yeah, an absolute avalanche of momentum for Orion, and now Decoy's finally looking to try and throw a wrench in there. Effort, no ult there necessary. Takes out Aurora on the Psylocke. Decoy's sitting on 4 ults. Orion's sitting on 4 ults themselves. We're going to see an absolute knockdown, drag-out fight here as Orion Wander is looking to storm the castle. Takes out Duck, looking to put a hole in the front line of Decoys to hit straight to those nice squishy supports and DPS in the back line. Looking to try and take out Glance. Cannot find it. 2 ults still sitting for Orion Wander, but Decoys are hanging on to those ults with everything they have. The last opportunity they've got to try and do something to stop Orion Wander. It's been almost a non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Islands, I think. anything. They immediately busted out of the opening room, and now here we are at the last few meters of the map. Glance with a judge, jury, and executioner trying to do anything they can to see what can stick to the wall, throwing everything they've got, just trying to finally put a stop to this absolute offensive tear that Orion Wanderer has been showing us since the start of this map. You know, Decoys may have picked the map here, they may have brought us here to Spider Islands, but so far it is Orion's map to win as they're looking to complete this track with over 3 minutes still left on the clock. They've got their Decoys have their work cut out for them when we swap sides here in just a moment. But continuing the onslaught here, Orion Wanderer is not giving up.
Nice one.
They're looking to retake that card and get things moving forward once again.
There we go. Great pop-up combination of ults coming up from the side of 4-1 to just stop up the entire momentum push coming up from the side of 1-1 Decoys. But right now, I hate to say it, but right now they need to change up their tank. I mean, Emma Frost is not going to work against some of these dive-based duelists being in play from the side of 4-1, and dive-based, I would say, entire hero set list being taken off from the side of 4-1, and they need to change up. I mean, that Black Panther was absolutely doing bonkers damage. Not going to definitely switch up to the Psylocke, but she's still doing a lot of that work that is supposed to be done. Right now, we do see when Decoys getting back on their momentum play. Right now, we do see them, a lot of the damage being on from their side, but there's going to be just too much time left in the hand of for the side of Orion Wanderer. They can just rethink the entire strategy, rethink their entire approach, charge up their ult because they have the time, and just they can grab onto the same part we're doing in what they were doing in the start of the entire map.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, in Ignite competition last night, we saw a couple of miracle holds, lots of time and not a lot of space to do it. Decoys is trying to hang in there, but they're already dropping like flies. Orion Wanderer looking to finally close this thing out. With a nice triple kill, a quadra kill on the sideline, looking to take out everybody on Decoys and finish this map off with 2 minutes left on the clock. Absolutely no problem. The pentakill, continuing the absolute onslaught from Orion Wanderer here. This is a completely different team than the first week we saw them, and they are looking to close this map out. 3 meters left to go as Decoys hangs on, white knuckle grip on that card, doing everything they can to try and stop progress. Finally, under 2 minutes left on the clock. Decoy's done a nice job here, finally putting in a defensive foothold, but it's just not enough. Orion Wanderer is going down now, half the team eliminated, but still they maintain control of the card. At least one person hanging in there, with Duck looking to try and finish him off with that Psionic Seduction, and now we are resetting here. Finally, Decoys is in control of this match. The cart is pushing back in Orion's direction, and now they have to find an answer here to close out the last few meters of this map as they approach just 60 seconds left on the clock.
Boy, oh boy, King and Glange, you are absolute the duo that 1-1 Decoys need at this point of time. I mean, straight up Penta, and then your team regain back the control on just Judge and during execution. That is some really, I would say, 100 IQ play coming up from the side of 1-1 Decoys. Right now, we do see in this moment getting ready up with the ult. This can definitely be the play where they can still have that kind of like all of the support ults, which is needed to just stop off the entire play. Emma Frost coming up with her ultimate pick as well. It's going to stun up the entire side. It's going to be Psylocke, and that's going to be a double Psylocke ult coming up to counter the entire play. The first one gets completely denied from the side of Effort, and she needs to just back off from the entire position. Might get the first pick on the side of Cloak and Dagger, but she's going to get entire HP back from her second support being remaining alive in the team as well. But that's going to be just 25 seconds left on the clock, where Orion Wanderer needs to just shut this entire thing off. Iron Man taking up the position, if I'm not wrong, for the ultimate. He secure this might be the captain, but Thor gets a double. Thor is just going to get up to third, and this, I'm pretty sure now it's going to be the side of Orion Wanderer, making sure that they get the third objective point onto their side as well. Was that it? I don't know. We are back here at the caster screen. Okay.
I'm dying to know what happened. There were 9 seconds left.
Oh boy, that was something like crazy. I mean, at this point of time, these guys are either dominating. I mean, for the side of 1-1 Decoys, it was a straight up domination coming to round number 1. It was the side of Orion Wanderer to pick up the entire fight in round number 2. That was not exactly the overtime part, but most of the times in these kind of like story points, in these kind of like a fight points, we have seen both of the teams just getting down to their head-to-head combos, head-to-head ultimates at the start of the overall over point, or I would say the entire 2 minutes or just 1 minute is left on the clock. So it is more of like the entire, I would say, the play which is getting supported by the ult. This is the entire play which is getting supported by the supporter, especially being on from their side. But a great way. I mean, for the side of Kevin Hawk, I have to say the picks coming up from the side of Black Panther. This is why you actually take up that guy and just obliterate the entire team. So I would say a huge credit goes on to that guy for initially making sure both the checkpoints are getting secured from the side of Orion. I have to say that.
Yeah, some really really nice clips there that let them get out of that open room.
Yeah,
Spider Islands can be such a bloody fight right out of the gate.
100%.
And when we joined them, they were already halfway to checkpoint number one. So yeah, I had to double check, make sure that it wasn't actually Self. I can't confirm that Kvev is not a Self Smurf account, but yeah, really great stuff from him so far. So yeah, at the very end there, just leaving absolutely nothing on the table. Throwing out every ult that they can. We saw psionic seductions from both sides just kind of clashing. At some point in there, I saw we had a Rocket Raccoon CYA ready to go, but we didn't get to see that activated just yet. So yeah, it's a technical pause, of course. We'll get back to it here in a second, but ultimately, yeah, just a really, it was really Orion's game there on offense from the start, and now jumping right back in, 30 seconds into this game here, Decoys is looking to capture some of that offensive magic that Orion was showing us last game, but struggling a little bit to get started here, more than Orion Wanderer was at the start. Again, normally on a map like Spider Islands, we see a lot of fighting here right at the gate. We see kind of in the middle of the map, a big offensive push like Orion showed us, and then as they get closer to that third checkpoint, things usually slow down a little bit, a lot more even team fighting back and forth. But we are back here, sides have been swapped. Orion Wanderer does complete the map, 3 points for them, and now Decoys has to complete this thing and take it to round 3. No time left on the clock for Orion, so they definitely at least win into overtime there for sure. So is that going to be enough? Can they stop Decoys from repeating the same offensive streak that Orion just got off of, or can they hold them down here in this opening fight of the map? And so far, doing a really nice job on defense, digging their heels in and just giving Decoys absolutely nothing here so far.
We do see the right kind of like the counter picks coming up from the side of One Decoys. Don't get me wrong, Hulk is a great counter to Black Panther. How he's able to just restrict himself, because overall the dive, I would say the stretch coming up from the side of Hulk is pretty great compared to what we do see from the side of Black Panther. So he is, I would say, ultimately, the right counter being in play. Orion Wonder coming up with the first Cloak and Dagger ult. We do see the Punisher ult also doing a lot of that value, which is kind of like needed, but can he get some of the picks, because that's going to be the Cloak and Dagger ult. First he gets the second, that's going to be Cloak and Dagger ult getting obliterated, and now it's going to be One Decoys back on the entire payload push. They seem need to take care of the Greg though, playing on the Thor, but right now just making sure nobody from the side of One Decoys dies off to stop up the entire momentum play. There you go, Punisher finish off the side of Crow. That's going to be the side of Iron, making sure that Hela goes down as soon as possible. But it's like I would say a tier 1 map coming up from the side of coming up for the likes of the picks for Black Panther and Iron Man. But for the side of One Decoys, they finally get the first checkpoint clock in from their side, and that's going to be a great timing. I would say that was like 4 minutes and 30 seconds from the side of Holy Wonder. That's going to be One Decoys to clock it out at exactly 4 minutes left on the clock. I mean, for the side of One Decoys, Hela can be the right pick, but some of these, I would say, the structures can actually provide a lot of the cover for the side of Holy Wonder when the Hela ult is getting clogged in. But right now, it's going to be an ult coming from the side of Emma. That's going to be a counter ult coming from the side of Iron Man. That's not going to provide a lot of that value, but still is just able to pick off Emma Frost as soon as the support go all the way back to respawn.
Yeah, really big whiff on the maximum pulse there from Aurora. Surprisingly, from a player like him that we've seen so much magic out of. Sometimes really all it takes is one nice team fight or one good play to really get that ball rolling, to build that confidence a little bit. And that's what we're seeing in a Decoys here. They were able to get a couple of those picks from Glance's ultimate, and now they're on the move here. 3:15 as they advance here towards this second checkpoint. Still struggling to make some progress a little bit, but finally retaking control of the card. 3 ults on both sides. Halev throwing out the Psionic Seduction here to try and get things moving, but they responded kind of 2-for-1. Advantage on the side of Orion Wanderer here at level with the Cloak and Dagger all looking for that sustain. They are going to commit to this team fight here. They're taking a little bit of advantage, and they are looking to lock in and get everything they can out of those kills. Hell from above from Effort looking to rain down the Hella darts down onto Orion, but not finding too much. Does find a roar there eventually. King does finish it off there on the woman, but not as huge of a team fight, I think, as Decoys was looking for them, though they are able to finally make some progress, almost halfway to checkpoint number 2 for them. 2:30 on the clock. Still looking okay for now. Not too bad. Decoys is not out of this just yet.
Yeah, Geeko are just staying alive anyhow possible. They're able to get a good couple of kills on the side of Orion Wonder. Sometimes around there's going to be the side of Cloak and Dagger, sometimes around there's going to be the side of Kevin Hawk. I'm not really sure what Kevin Hawk was playing. He was playing again the Black Panther, right, when the second round started. But we now do see him playing on the side of making sure that he's able to take out the entire play coming up from the side of One Decoys. A lot of good offensive play. That's going to be a second whiff, if I'm not wrong, from the side of Era. I'm really surprised what he's trying to do with the entire Iron Man pick. Right now it's going to be Punisher. Glance here with the ultimate being in place, able to avoid a lot of the damage onto the face of Hulk. That's going to be second pick coming up. That's going to be assistance coming up from side of Hulk. Complete team wipe for the side of Orion Wonder. That is the right kind of play happening in from the side of 1-1 Decoys. And it's not about the right kind of play, it's all about the right kind of the counters that they have taken. You have Hela to target the entire set piece play coming up from the side of Emma Frost and Vanguard. Kind of like the same can be done from the side of Punisher as well, but that Hulk is just providing so much space on the face of Orion Wonder.
Yeah, really beautiful ace. Perfect timing on that to just keep them in this fight. 245 as they enter the castle, halfway to that third and final checkpoint and potentially staying alive on map number 2 here. But we saw what happened to Orion Wanderer last time. They came in with a lot of time and came out just barely in overtime for that third checkpoint completion. But now we're seeing Orion slip a little bit. They've whipped a couple of ults here, right? The Aurora has missed a couple of Iron Man ults. Decoy's doing a really good job waiting for those ults to pop and immediately countering by just taking out that person in particular. And it's really paid off for them here as they are still in this fight. 2 minutes to go. Decoys have control of the card, and they are rolling on as they get a couple of picks against Orion here. A lot of trades here, but ultimately ending up most of the time in favor of Decoys. They are on an offensive tear now, finally. Things are firing on all cylinders. Effort's still holding on to that ult, but barely going to be able to activate it at the last second, nice. Of course, for that Hela ult. Looking to just close this thing out to try and put down as much damage as they can from above. Rocket Raccoon and Invisible Woman ult to sustain that team, to keep Decoys in the fight. They find a roar. Ooh. Now Halev with a Psionic Seduction of his own on this side, trying to hang on to this card. Orion Wanderer finally take control of it here as we look at a minute 45 left to go, and Decoys are struggling here on this very last corridor here of the map.
All right, 1 minute 30 seconds left on the clock. Not the right amount of time they have left to just pop up the entire ult. Glance saves right on just securing right on the right time to secure that, but at least need one support ult to make the counter play happen. Right now, all they need to do is just making sure in the next 1 minute nobody from the side of Orion Wanderer, nobody from the side of Decoys are able to successfully provide the same kind of like a value what they need. Oh, look at that play! He just turns the entire Black Panther right up in the air. He just staying right upon his tail, making sure Black Panther doesn't do the right kind of damage what he was able to do in the first round. Right now, Hela, we do see her, target the entire, I would say, the Iron Man pick. We do see now the side of, Clans providing the same kind of support coming up from this team. But right now, it's going to be a very crucial ultimate decision being made. That's going to be a first making sure that Iron Man goes down. That's going to be the psychotic protection from the side of Emma Frost as well. Hela gets caught up in the same, and that is going to be Punisher doing a whole lot of damage. We do see the supporters being in play, but Hulk has his ultimate right now, which he can pop up, but no. He's gonna get dissipated in the second form at absolutely the wrong time, and that is going to be 1-1 Decoys, just making sure that they are able to push down to this 3-0 and overtime remains alive.
Well, if he was going to land a maximum pulse Aurora, this would be the time to do it. 15 seconds on the clock as Decoys are trying to get control of the cart once again, but Orion clearing them out. Only 10 seconds left to go, and no one from Decoys is here to get back on the cart to start that overtime clock. 6 seconds ticking down. Somebody from Orion Wanderer has to get here, and it'll be a roar on site here to try and extend this map, and we are in overtime here. Just a few meters left to go. Decoys have to make a play right here. Maximum pulse from Aurora. Another whip from the Iron Man player on Orion Wanderer, and now Decoys are looking to try and control this card. Aurora goes down after a KO, but Halev, Psionic Seduction, Orion Wanderer is hanging in there. They out-sustain Decoys. They're going to be walking back from the spawn room. Overtime halfway gone. Amazing double kill from Effort from above. Really just trying to regain control of this card here. They are in control, but Orion Wanderer is still hanging on there, just not giving up just yet.
Hulk is still coming back. Hulk needs to just secure that and at least try to take down the side of Fireman. You can do it, my boy. Come on. Greg, making sure Divisible goes. That's going to be a great value provided from the side of Hulk, but that is not going to play now. That's going to be Orion Wanderer making sure they are able to just dissipate the entire offensive push coming up from the side of 1-1 Decoy. I gotta say, for the fact that this is a completely different team from what we saw in the week 1 of the entire play. What a play coming up from the side of Arrow. I mean, for the side of Arrow, we did saw a couple of, ults getting mixed up, a couple of, maximum pulse not being at the right time. but the kind of like the damage was he was able to do with his secondary fire was just way too good. He was just able to finish off the entire opponent duelist and finish off the entire, I would say, the picks coming up from their side, coming up from his side when it's almost and outmost needed. Look at his final hits. It's 17. Like, oh, who's going to remain on top? That's going to be Kevin Hawk. 21 final hits. Look at the same amount of damage. I know for the side of Iron Man, he has like the whole blast, which kind of like deals a little bit of more damage, but 25k damage coming up with Black Panther is absolutely, crazy, my man. Absolutely crazy.
No, unreal plays. I mean, really, we saw some crazy plays week 1 Ignite on Self on Ego Death from Black Panther, but I think that Kevev's play there really rivals it. I mean, the stats tell you everything you need to know. Pentakill, most eliminations in the game by far, 47 and 9. Just absolutely beautiful stat block there for Orion Wanderers, and like we've been saying this whole time, like a totally different team. Almost overnight, or at least over the past week, whatever they have changed about the strategy is working for them. Just great stuff. Of course, sometimes in a game like this, the scores don't tell you everything you need to know. It is a 2-0 win on the side of Orion, but Decoy's really putting up a fight there, especially at the end, just holding on to everything that they could. So, way to hang in there. It's a very scrappy team. They have to be commended for, despite the overwhelming odds against them, trying to recapture what Orion did with just a few seconds on the clock and a few meters left at the very end of the map. So that would be Orion's win there, 2-0 to start off week number 2 of MRGR action. So, wow, really nice opening set to start the broadcast for sure.
I mean, 100%. That was the kind of like a matchup that you actually need as cautious as well. I mean, in some kind of like these grassroots level, when we do see a straight up, a domination from one single team in the entire tournament, but this was something else, and it's great to see the side of when Decoy is again adapting to the entire scenarios, improvising and adapting to the entire scenarios as the situations want. We do see them switching up to 3 vanguards because it's absolutely needed. But what was more needed is some of the support ults kind of being in play when it's outmost needed. Yes, there was a couple of whips coming up from both sides as well, don't get me wrong, but this time around it was more of like a star show coming up from the side of both of the duelists being in play from the side of Orion. Don't get me wrong, no custom, Glance J playing on the Punisher, I would say same for the side of Waldo as well, being very, I would say, supremely well on their own roles, but it was more of like a great value getting provided from the side of Black Panther, especially in some of those early checkpoints being clogged in very, very soon. And that was completely, I would say, dependent on the entire of the Black Panther plays. There was like Mandus, there was like Starlaw, there was like, of course, the entire res combo coming up in the support from the side of Adam Warlock. Both of them, I mean, 3 of them was completely getting obliterated with the Black Panther picks. But right now, as soon as we did saw the hero compositions getting changed, it was some kind of like a similar strategy coming up from the side of Orion Wanderer. They were playing on their duelist. As soon as duelist goes and provide the damage, it was a vanguard to pick them off. And yes, it was absolutely the side of Hulk as well, making sure that he is able to provide the right kind of space coming up from the side of 1-1 decoys. But it was more of like, I would say, the initial momentum getting clogged in. It was previously the same when we did saw 1-1 decoys securing the round number 1 in map number 1. It was completely the mirror, I would say, the play happening in from the side of Orion Wanderer from the start of round number 2 in map number 1. Just clocking up that momentum play, clocking up those ultimates when it's absolutely needed. But yes, there were like a couple of whips, coming up, a couple of whips coming in from both sides. It was, a couple of ults getting mistimed, couple of Psylocke ults getting mistimed from the side of Orion Wanderer. So, both of the teams playing absolutely right when it's absolutely needed. But it was, very minute strategies getting countered out from the side of Orion Wanderer.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it was Kevev that kind of carved the path for Orion from the start on that offensive play there. Really opened the door for them to build that time bank that was what ultimately helped them clear checkpoint number 3. So, we would have seen a completely different map if he hadn't gone for the Black Panther. So I also definitely give a lot of credit to Effort and Glance over on Decoys, a really nice DPS duo. Glance with some very 100%. Impactful Punisher ults, not just spraying and praying down the whole team, actually getting picks from it, and Effort as well. So, they put on a good show for sure. They fought as hard as they could, but ultimately it's Orion's day so far. Really great to see them come out and get a big win like that over another strong team, So really, really great great stuff. You
100%.
know, it's like we've seen the whole time. You know, we get to see some interesting strategies and some interesting plays in a event like this. So, you know, great start. I can only imagine what the rest of the sets today are going to look like.
Dude, don't get me started on that. I really want to see somebody actually challenging this kind of composition. Hey, don't get me wrong. This kind of composition is kind of get countered very easily by some of the textbooks play. To counter out the entire Black Panther dives, all you need is the Rocket Raccoon and Penny Parker combo. You can just lay down both the spider nets on the right set where Black Panther can just get picked off from all of the mimes. I don't know why there was no Penny Parker because we did saw in round number 1, in map number 1, there was someone from the side of when Decoy playing up on that Penny Parker. But after, you know, when it was absolutely needed, when Black Panther is completely shutting off your entire backline, I don't know what was going on inside the minds, inside the strategies coming up from the side of 1-1 Decoys. But hey, folks, that will be a discussion for some other time. And, you know, kudos to both of the teams for, you know, putting up a really good show for the first match of the entire broadcast. But for now, folks, it's time for a little break here at the MRGR Weekly. We're going to come up with game number 2 very soon. Don't go anywhere. Make sure to hit that follow button right up on the Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and like the stream. We'll be coming up after a short little break. Get turned into control, make sure that it doesn't get any effect from that's going to be a big contribution out of it. It was a great big lead, makes me that's how this is going to be a second alert also being there for he's going to do a lot of that support from his side. Now just a sliver of time basically what this is. The line is not going to have everything they really struggled. Them out now for us with the third pick. The fight coming up in this second round coming up from their side. That's going to be the ultimate coming up from the side of Emma Frost. That's going to be a double now coming up from the side of OEM1. That's going to be entire 4 plays. What just happened? Wow.
Well, you know, they use Girl to mix up a double on Effort. Flame on for Effort as he's picking up a lot of kills here so far. Really good stuff. The Decoys DPS is really picking up. Finally managed to take him out. It looks like Decoys are finally looking to catch that point. Even though Ryan Walker is still really strong on that. Greg showing his versatility, showing his everything he got. Last opportunity they got to try and do something to stop Ryan Walker. A non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Islands. They may have brought us here to Spider Islands, but so far it is Orion's map to win as they complete this track with and still left on Orion's map to win as they complete this track with and still left on Decoys have their work cut out for them when we swap sides here in just a moment. But continuing the onslaught here, Orion Wanderer is not giving up.
Nice one.
Looking to retake that card to get this moving forward once again.
There we go. Great pop-up combination of folks coming up from the side of where you wanted to stop on that really speaking in play from the side of the point and dive base. I would say entire hero to set this speaking from the side of the point and they need to change up. I mean, that Black Panther was absolutely that was not very much of the side of, but she's doing a lot of that work that is supposed to be
still, they maintain control of the card. At least one person hanging in there with Duck looking to try and finish him off that side of the symmetry. And now we're resetting here. Finally, Decoys is in control of this match. The cart is pushing back in Orion's direction.
She needs to just back off from the tap position. Might get the first pick on the side of Cloak and Dagger, but she's going to get entire HP back from her second support being remaining alive in the team as well. But that's going to be 25 seconds left on the clock, where Oya Wonder needs to just shut this entire thing off. I might take it up the position if I'm not wrong about the ultimate execute this for the first Cloak and Dagger. We do see the Punisher also doing a lot of that value, which is kind of like needed. But can you get some of the picks, because that's going to be Cloak and Dagger. Let's get first, he gets the second. That's going to be Cloak and Dagger getting upgraded. And now it will be what the first fight on the entire field. Take care of the great playing on the spot, but right now all the
overtime here. Decoys have to make a play right here. Maximum pulse from Aurora. Another whiff from the Iron Man player on Orion Wanderer. And now Decoys are looking to try to control Star. Aurora goes down into the tail. On the left, Psionic Seduction. Orion Wanderer is hanging in there. They out-sustain Decoys. They're going to be walking back.
Nice.
Overtime effort. Amazing effort from the ball.
In the right path, they're still making sure nobody comes up near to the back line. I think the white piece side. We're gonna keep this time. This is a very small map. This is not exactly the map where you can play a lot of the players. That's going to be a retake coming from side of 1v1 Decoys. A great pick and leads. It makes the entire stoppage at 81%. And this is going to be a second ult also being in play. Possibly that was from the side of 1v1 Decoys. That was that. And she's going to do a lot of that support from his side.
And now just a sliver of overtime left for Orion. Amazing Doctor Strange will put the back in his fight, but Orion is not giving up yet. They are throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. But 4 members of Orion plays as much as we did in the earlier days of Marvel Rivals. But Kev is going to attempt to make some plays here. We are already in a team fight on the point as it opens up. Everybody's fighting on the point. Waldo's not exactly characteristic that we saw last week. Of course,
them out now for the third pick. The third, I think the fight comes up in this second round comes up from their side. That's going to be the side of across. That's going to be a double now. Comes up from the side of one. What plays? What? What just happened? Wow.
Looks like Decoys are finally looking to contest that point, even though Orion Wanderer is still really strong on that. Of course, Greg showing his versatility, showing us even more everything they have. The last opportunity they've got to try and do something to stop Orion Wanderer. It's been almost a non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Islands. I think I've picked the map here. Hello, rivals, and welcome back to the MRGR Weekly number 2 here in this series. And we are back after a very intense game number 1 on the broadcast between Orion Wanderers and 1v1 Decoys, ending in a 2-0 for Orion Wanderers. That's game number 1. I just streamed for like 5 hours last night of Ignite and A matches. I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. I need like a shutout or something here. Just a little break, maybe. But also on the other side, Doncor and SBA rematching in round number 1, and Doncor will take that one 2-0. So the Virtus Pro of MRGR continues their undefeated streak.
Apologies, folks, my entire voice was getting breakdown, but yeah, for now, folks, yes, we are back here at the MRG Weekly to completing the entire conversation. Yes, I was just appreciating the side of Orion Wanderers on how they have just made a comeback in this entire play here at week number 2 against the same team who defeated them in week number 1. Right now, our next game is going to be between the side of SPA facing up the side of Decoys. Now, Decoys do have a kind of like a second chance where they can, fight it all the way back to round number 3, but it's more of like I want to see what kind of hero composition we do see. Now, talking about side of the previous game that we have seen here at the broadcast, I would still say for a fact that it was just a very minute, in-game presence getting messed up from the side of 1v1 Decoys. It was just a couple of maybe hero composition would kind of like needed to change, needed to be changed in a little bit of that, counterparts. Like, one that I pointed out was, completely that Penny Parker being absent, where we did saw Rocket Raccoon getting played up in the last minute of the game. But overall, I would still say 1v1 Decoys played up pretty well on what kind of composition they had. They picked up pretty well on when they were trying to just force up the entire play. But it was more of like an Orion Wanderers just being very ready to just counter and eliminate everybody from the side of 1v1 Decoys. And kudos again to Kevin Hawk for the Black Panther plays. And again, I would say for the side of Glanze playing upon from side of 1v1 Decoys on that Punisher play, he was just absolutely wreaking havoc. Both of the duelists were just wreaking havoc when they were getting the chance to do so. But right now, folks, our next matchup, SBA facing up the side of Decoys. Maybe it will be the side of Decoys again to gain up that very early momentum. Maybe it will be the side of SPA. But anyhow, anything which needs to be done has to be done from the side of Decoys to get this victory against the side of SPA in game number 2.
Yeah, I think they're looking to try and build some momentum. And about Kvev, you were 100% right. We were talking about during the break. It really felt like his
Yeah.
plays right at the beginning of Spider Islands is what kind of opened the door for Orion to build that time bank that let them mount that amazing defense or offense there at the end and kind of hang in there as they went into overtime. So, yeah. So SBA and we're sticking with decoys, like you said. SBA, I've seen them play. We watched their match between them and Dawn Core last week on the broadcast. I believe they're still looking for their first win here. I think they may have gotten a bye somewhere, so they do have like a 1-3, 1-4. But a hungry team that's looking to try and get a foothold here and start picking up some wins. In a format like Swiss, sometimes it can be difficult. If you get into a hole at the beginning, you spend the rest of the time digging your way out and not enough time building a nice record. And of course, we know at the end of this month here, we've got one more week of regular Swiss competition, and they'll be moving into like a playoff bracket, and the top teams will be making it. So SBA still has a little time here to start making some plays, and I think it's going to be a tough matchup with decoys. SBA, they faced Dawn Core, and they faced down like some very, very strong map environmental plays and a lot of choke points that Dawn Core took advantage of. So curious to see if SBA kind of downloaded some of those strategies for themselves and maybe going to be looking to implement those against decoys as we move into the second set here of the day.
They have to 100%. They faced up 1-1 decoys in week number 1, and they got defeated with a 2-0 score. I'm not really sure if that matchup was the entirely close up on what we saw getting completely interchanged from the side of Orient Wanderers on how they have completely changed their approach going up against side of 1-1 decoys. Yes, if SB are able to do the same, it will be a shocker coming onto the face of 1-1 decoys. But I'm just gonna not get ahead of myself, because the stats tells a lot on how some of these teams are gonna play. Everything cannot be just made up in a straight up comeback from a lot of these teams playing at this kind of like a stage. But still, I would still say 1-1 decoy is looking for redemption on what they have done and what they have played. What kind of performance they have put up against a team like Orient Wanderers. They will be looking very strong against the side of SPA. Yes, for the side of SPA, if they are able to counteract every other play from the side of 1-1 decoys, maybe things can get a little bit different. But I'm pretty sure they were watching the game number 1. They pretty much sure know how and what kind of compositions 1-1 decoys can pick and what kind of counters they need to pick if they want to win up all of the games.
Yeah, showing a lot of knowledge in the pick and ban phase for sure, and building out those comps, like you said. It's a tough matchup for sure. If you're just joining us, looking at the scores from that last round on the broadcast, it's an 0-2 loss for decoys, but both maps were so incredibly close. They 100%. Captured 1 point on domination in the opening, and they were right there at the end, just inches away from clearing that map and taking Orion to round 3 on Spider Islands, but just couldn't do it. So, like we've said, and like I've talked about, you'll hear me say it a lot. Sometimes you have to look past the scores and really look at how the map's being played out. And, maybe an 0-2, and to most people, it's a shutout. Wow, a really big win. But in reality, it was close. It was very close. We could not say who was going to win that whole time. So, I think the SBA definitely has their work cut out for them for sure as we head over to map number 1. We're back on Hell's Heaven for some domination plays. So I'm curious to see SBA. I want to see them mount some offense here. I want to see them get some plays in. We haven't gotten to really see them with any big shining moments on stream yet. So this is their opportunity here in this matchup between SBA and 1v1 decoys.
Oh, it's going to be TTV locking up and putting up that mouse very early on Hawkeye. Not really sure if maybe Luna Snow can get picked up for the Ice Arrow combination, even though that it has been very, I would say, heavily nerfed in the last patch. I mean, the cooldown effect has been nerfed, the stun effect has been nerfed, the entire range has been nerfed, but still, Hawkeye pick, never mind, it's gonna get banned.
Oh, but that ban's gonna end up on Decoy's side, so Mers is gonna be able to play it unless Decoy's opts to ban it. But you're right, the changes to that have definitely kind of hamstrung that team up. So I'm interested if they're hovering that. No, they're hovering they're going to save the Hawkeye here. What are they cooking? A Hawkeye ban and a Hawkeye save? Are we about to see something that we just don't know about? Again, they are playing on the most recent patch, the one that just came out like yesterday or 5 minutes ago or whenever that patch dropped. So like you said, the Ice Arrow team up has been nerfed for sure, but what do they have in their back pocket here? Very, very interesting pick and ban phase for sure from SBA.
I feel like that Hawkeye ban was a little bit just confused. the side of the side of 1-1 decoys. I'm not really sure. For me, it looks like they just wanted to deviate the focus from Hawkeye, and maybe the other team wanted to put up a focus on some other one, because I know in for a fact that these kind of like teams also put up an eye on all of the stats coming up from their team as well. So they do have a little bit of idea, I feel, about the Hawkeye play coming up from side of Mercy, but we'll talk about it later. For now, it's going to be the side of Emma Frost, which is getting saved up from the side of SPA, and there we go. It is going to get it is going to get Human Torch banned up, because we did saw how the side of Effort was playing up at the Human Torch very early in the Hell's Heaven domination map. Luna Snow also gets stave. That's going to be a pretty, I would say, a classic approach coming up from side of 1-1 decoys, but that's going to be one last ban, which is going to be, of course, the side of Hulk getting banned from the side of 1-1 decoys.
Yeah, two really nasty saves from decoys, both the Emma Frost and the Luna Snow, and of course, overall pretty interesting ban spread here. Something interesting about an event like this, or watching lower tier teams compete, is you don't have access to a lot of tape, you don't have access to a lot of information about the other team, so there's a lot of X factors in play, there's a lot of surprise factors in play here, and that might just be what SBA is looking to do here. No Luna Snow pick as far as I can see, so maybe Mers is just absolutely cracked on the Hawkeye and just wants to show it off here. I'm actually really looking forward to this. SBA kind of looking to set themselves apart from the competition, like we said, still looking for that first dub here in MRGR, so maybe looking to just subvert all expectations to try and take a surprise win off of decoys. Very interested to see how this is going to play out here as we move into the domination on Hell's Heaven.
Yes, sir. I mean, he's still very rigid on the Hawkeye. I'm pretty sure. Hey, don't get me wrong. It's just like a observation that I have seen in some of my games and some of the competitive games. If somebody is playing very aim, oriented, heroes being in play, he might not be able to do the same in terms of how he needs to change onto some dive base. If he's actually needs to get changed, he's very being rigid on the Hawkeye play. We know in for a fact that Luna Snow is still missing. So yeah, this can be a very interesting fight coming up from the side of SPA. Don't get me wrong, folks. But that's going to be Lagoon picking up Loki, one of my favorite heroes in the entire game, on how he can just put up that regeneration domain counter out and actually counter out some of these very damage offensive ultimates coming in from some of the duelists. We do see a lot of that fight coming up now from the side of Waldo. He needs to just go up onto the flank, but that's going to be the first pick coming up from the side of Duck. Awesome, taking down that Penny Parker Effort, making sure that Medicare also goes down. That's going to be a third pick, and the double coming up from side of Effort. So now it's going to be SPA falling off like a deck of cards very early in this first round.
Yeah, the point may be online, but SBA is not a triple kill for Duck on the Emma Frost. Already opening up really strong, very quick, simple first capture here for decoys. So SBA on the back foot now, gonna have to find some kind of way to get in there and start making some progress on a retake potentially. They do manage to find effort though. They just need to get that DPS going on the side of SBA to make some kind of plays here. I'm sorry, I can't see their name here on the broadcast, but the Penny Parker does go down again. SBA like clockwork, up and down for 1v1 decoys, finding an ace right out of the gate. 36% capture, not even a whole 60 seconds into this matchup, and decoys are already knocking down most of SBA. They are in complete control here as we get started on Hell's Heaven.
Yeah. Right now, we do see Loki providing that a lot of that backline support, which is kind of absolutely needed. But right now, I feel like Waldo is just making that up space, and he's just straight up going onto the face of Hawkeye, and Naita is going to be just off that, respawn area push coming up from the side of 1-1 decoy. They're not just allowing them to even get out of the entire spawn point. So it's going to be a little bit of that, I would say, and SPA a little bit worried about on how they can do things a little bit differently. Maybe at least try to take down the side of Waldo, put up that Captain America back off, and maybe right now, maybe then when decoys can back off from the entire position a little bit. Hawkeye comes up with the ultimate. That can be a little bit different. We can get one of the picks getting made, but not going to happen. That's going to be Luna Snow coming up with the entire ult in play from the side of 1-1 decoys, and there we have it, folks. It's going to be still very, very hard for the side of SPA to, again, regain the entire control of the entire situation. Oof.
Yeah, absolutely. 95% now capture for decoys on this first point, and the decoys are taking the fight to SBA's front door all the way up against their spawn, and SBA is looking for any opportunity to get out, but no overtime here. 100%, one simple capture from decoys, and they take the Eldritch Monument, and they are in the lead here on this first map of this matchup. Wow, just absolutely just complete textbook lockdown, almost surgical, really. SBA really struggling on that first point. They just need some kind of offensive. I thought, at the beginning at least, they're butting heads a little bit and making some trades, but a quick ace there at the beginning of the match, as we saw, was all it took for decoys to take that first full point. So now SBA has got to find some kind of way to change up their strategy or something here that'll allow them to at least get out the front door. Tail of the tape here, as you can see on the stats. DPS for SBA lagging behind here. No eliminations yet. One for the Thing and one for Invisible Woman. Of course, on the other side, continuing some strong in a frost plays like we saw from the last set. 6 final hits already for him. 12 elims for Glance on the Star-Lord. So really only one elim so far. One person has fallen on decoys. So yeah, just absolutely dominant first point. And I think they're looking to continue that momentum here as we head into the next one.
Don't get me wrong. Do you think Hawkeye? I don't feel a Hawkeye can be the right hero on how this particular map allows the very restricted space. Plus, they have 2 dives compared to how they can just straight up go onto the face of Hawkeye and eliminate him as soon as possible. There we go. The ultimate play coming from the side of Star. You're gonna get one, but Effort is gonna get up the second one. There you go. The Cosm takes down side. No actually straight up elimination, but that's gonna be a lot of the damage getting supported from the side of Clans to provide those elimination back to his team. SBA was just able to pop up that one earth, not gonna provide that kind of a value which was absolutely needed, and that's gonna be a third time where we do see when Decoys completely wiping out the entire team of SBA 2X.
Yeah, that's been the story since frame 1, really, of this matchup. Just an assembly line. SBA comes in and Decoys just knocks him down. They have to regroup. They got to change something up. And finally, we do see Murs change off of the Hawkeye. I do agree. I think that maybe with the Luna Snow team up, I think he has some potential on this map, but without it, it's really a struggle for him. So we are seeing SBA try to change up the strategy, stay versatile. Still not going to be enough. Murs goes down already. Decoys still looking incredibly strong here. They have 4 ults ready to go and almost a 5th one. And Duck continuing to just rack up those elims. Another KO for him. Just crazy stuff from Decoys, as we're seeing again Decoys at the front door of SBA. They put a chair underneath the doorknob. SBA can't even get out here. More than 50% captured on this second point for Decoys, and it is looking like their map to win.
Yeah, let's see, man. When Decoys are just straight up right now, don't get me wrong, bullying the side of SBA. They're just not allowing them to even get onto the point right now. First, we do see now Effort putting up that ultimate play, and with that Hela, all of the damage right onto the face, right up into the mouth of the entire, I would say, the map, where they need to actually go onto the point. Not gonna really happen. Both of their supports goes down. As soon as we do see supports going down, that's gonna be duelists and tanks going up in the same area. We do see the Moon Knight pick now coming up. Sebastian putting up that ult alone, not a wise thing to do. That's gonna be the second round also. I might spoke too soon, but yeah, I don't think so. On from here, it's gonna be very, I would say, an easy task for the side of SBA to just provide that over time. That's gonna be the second round getting secured from the side of 1-1 Decoys, and that's gonna be the first map getting onto the bag of 1-1 Decoys.
Wow, yeah, a really rough start for SBA. It's not what you want to see here. Getting pushed up against the spawn almost right away. I mean, man, Duck with the MVP there, very, very deserved. Just again, continuing to add even more notches here, just more and more and more kills. 25-0, and we'll see the stats, and that'll tell you a lot of how this match really went down. Very, very few deaths on the side of the Decoys here. Just absolutely dominant performance from start to finish. Bullet, in a situation like this, when you're losing, we talk about, maybe making a hero swap here and there, maybe a different rotation or something. But, when it's just domination in every sense of the word, no pun intended, how do you come back? I mean, what do you do going into map number 2 to dig your way out of this? I mean, it is a tall order for SBA.
First of all, it was, I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, I'm not a supreme expert who knows everything about our rivals. Yes, just to add to that, I know how to counter Loki. It's all about the play that you need to take his clones out for sure. I'm a Lord Loki, don't get me wrong. I know what kind of situations from where I cannot get out of. They do have now the Moon Knight. They do have the thing going on to the play. He can just dive onto the face of Loki, and they can just take him out, because Loki is going to be a very important one to take the entire team out, because he can just provide so much of the value coming up with the regeneration domain and with the primary heals as well. But right now, it is more about the momentum play. It's more about that they need some of these ultimates to get popped up at the right time, so they can just ride on the entire momentum and just take out the entire team of 1-1 decoys, which I think is going to be absolutely hard, because at this point of time, it's not just about duelists doing all of the eliminations from their side for the team of 1-1 decoys. Also, if you look at the numbers, it's also the side of healers getting those numbers from their side as well. So it is more about the fact that maybe they need to change something from the entire hero composition, but also I feel like it's all about the team coordination in play as well. We did saw, Sebastian popping off that solo Penny Parker ult, which was absolutely not needed.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. And that's not to completely discredit SBA. They are recognizing that the picks aren't working for them. We saw them trying to play versatile, swapping off of the Hawkeye and stuff. That's really what sets, a high ranked rank player apart from a player that's participating in an esports event is knowing that 100%. You can't just force your one hero. In a game like Rivals, you have the opportunity to change what character you're playing as the map progresses, and a lot of the times, we're seeing more versatility from these teams, more exploration. So good to see the SBA is thinking about it. In a league like this, it's a learning opportunity for a lot of these teams. Some of them, 100%. Are competing for the very first time, and you have to wonder about the mind games. Are they nervous? This is the first time that maybe they're not just queuing up 6-stack and ranked to participate in a tournament like this. And some of these teams are looking to build their resume to start looking for an org that will represent, or for them to represent. So, they're struggling for sure, but I think ultimately sometimes it's about just taking those lumps and going through a game like that, and knowing that it's like, we have to understand sometimes you just can't give up. They're it can be a little demoralizing getting pushed up against the spawn. Trust me, I've been there plenty of times in my own games. 100%. So 100%. It's hard mentally to recover from, but that is the challenge when you get to a level like this. Even as a grassroots esports player, that is part of the game. So I want to see SBA recover from this. I want to see some more bright spots as we move into map number 2. The map is theirs now, so we want to see them pick something that they're really strong on and get some plays in for sure.
Yeah, now because it's going to be this side of Convoy, I mean, Miss playing on Squaler is absolutely, I would say, one of the topics that he or she can go. Moon Knight is also a great pick if I just want to, just observe the entire picks coming up in the very last minutes of the entire game. Mm-hmm. To counter out Captain America, yes, Penny Parker would be the right thing. Counter out the side of Emma Frost, you need someone right up on his face to deal up the entire damage as soon as he goes onto the diamond form. But what is absolutely needed, the textbook play that you need to take out the backline. You need someone to actually just play onto the head and the face of the backline support plays coming up from the side of 1-1 decoys, because Lagon on Loki, he can just snap up to any one of the close and get off the entire situation as soon as possible. So the first thing that you need to do is right now just two of the players deciding that, hey, there's going to be that one Loki clone right up onto the top providing those heals. There's going to be second Loki clone on the ground, because this is how some of the textbook Loki plays happen. So I'm just giving an example of that. So you need at least two of the players just to ride up onto that responsibility that, hey, if you see a Loki clone, you're just going to destroy it as soon as possible, because that regeneration domain can get expanded by these Loki drones all over the map. For now, to take out the side of Luna, Snow, that is up to the side of up to the side of SBA to think about how they can counter out the entire play. But absolutely necessary to counter out the dives and the plays coming up from the side of Effort. Effort was 21. His entire final hits is pretty much less, but on how he was able to do 11,000 damage, which is the highest number in the entire game, tells a lot about the fact that he was just able to take out and do a lot of the damage all to all of the healers, all of the vanguards. Of course, those final hits was getting confirmed by Emma Frost, Star-Lord, and of course Captain America. But he is right now at 11,000 damage coming up in a very, I would say, a short matchup of what was like 9 minutes or 8 minutes for the entire matchup. So 11,000 damage coming up in like 8 minutes is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I actually think it was like 5:30 or 6 minutes. Yeah, I mean, just insane
There
stats
you go.
for a game of this caliber. So yeah, I mean, Decoy's showing off a lot on that first map. Um, yeah, continuing that kind of they've shown a lot of really strong performances, a lot of dominant plays here, but they're looking to try and continue that streak. I believe we are headed to we are going to Midtown next. Very high ceilings on this map. Fully expected to see some flyers come out here. Mers is hovering the Hawkeye again, so maybe gonna try to get that going again. I'm not sure how he works out on Midtown, to be totally honest. I just don't see a lot of Hawkeye.
Yeah, let's see, man. Let's see. At this point of time, anything can not be anticipated. But for now, I can definitely anticipate what kind of like pick and bans coming up can decide the entire fate of at least the first round. I would say the first objective point. But right now, we do see Penny Parker getting banned from the side of SPA. That's going to be Luna Snow getting banned and then again protected. Very weird, I would say, strategy in the snake draft to Swiss draft to actually just lose up the entire focus of your opponent. But right now they need to remember for the fact that it was the side of Mirrors playing with the Hawkeye. So if you protect the side of Luna Snow, they can utilize Luna Snow in the same way on how you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the Penny Parker ban. I like that play. She is very strong on a map like Midtown, where there's not a lot of room to move. You got one way in and one way out of the spawn room. So just looking to make sure that they don't get locked down in there again. And it can be a really brutal fight to just get on that cart for the first time and start an offensive push. So 100%, I agree with the Penny ban for sure. Very interesting that they're preserving the cloak and dagger though. I think we've seen SBA have some pretty interesting picks and bans for sure, and I don't know if it's some kind of strategy that I'm just not familiar with, or maybe they just know something that I don't. That's very possible for sure. But over on the side of Decoys, they're sticking to some pretty standard bans. I think really going for that strategist hate though. Luna Snow, Loki, Mantis. Who do you heal with now? We still have Invisible Woman, of course, but yeah. So really going after SBA strategists. They're on defense here first, it looks like, for Midtown. So, maybe in response, they're thinking ahead here. Decoys is thinking after the halftime swap, looking to hurt SBA's possibilities to sustain and get out of that spawn room. So, yeah, and it bans the Invisible One to 4 strategist banned for Decoys. So, looking to stop as much healing as they possibly can. SBA only hanging on to that cloak and dagger because of the save.
Yeah, I mean, they have banned up, SP has banned up Penny Parker, and then three of, I would say, picks coming up from strategists have been banned from the side of Decoys. What you're left with Rocket Raccoon, you're left with Jeff the Land Shark. On a map like Midtown, where there's not a lot of space where actually Jeff can swallow you up and throw you out of the map, I'm not really sure what exactly the picks are going to look like. Now, of course, we do see the hero picks being in play. That's going to be Wolverine and Hulk getting locked out from the side of 1-1 Decoys. Hey, boy, don't get me wrong. This is not looking right in terms of the hero composition. Now, to counter that, we do see the side of Sebastian getting up that Armor Frost, who can just stop the entire push. I would say stop the entire offensive play coming up from the side of Wolverine by holding him out. But we do see the side of Rocket Raccoon and also, the side of Magneto being in place. Now, Magneto is, still, in my opinion, an A tier or an S tier tank, being in the entire composition alongside the side of Emma Frost and, of course, Cloak and Dagger. But I feel like, where you have Wolverine, Iron Man, and, of course, Hulk, you do need 3 healers to stop out the entire damage, to recover from the entire damage. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that atomic fastball is going to be enough to get them out of this opening gate here. We have seen on Midtown, even in this tournament so far, we've seen the 3-3, the 3 duelist, 3 strategists just to try and, 3 duelist, 3 vanguard just to try and get out of that opening door. But Decoy's not going to opt for that as the doors to Midtown fly open. They are, and they're walking straight out. SBA is going to let them do it, I think, maybe taking control of the cart right away, and they're already making a push. So maybe one of the hardest parts of this map, at least the opening here, kind of out of the way for Decoys. So, I don't know, it just seems like they kind of walked out and just started pushing the cart along like they're going to the grocery store. And wow, already a chest being killed from Glance here, picking up that Iron Man and just looking straight away to do damage to SBA and again continue that dominant streak that they started on map number 1.
Yeah, the passive play coming up from the side of Ludas Lewis, just providing all of the heals coming on to the face of coming on the side of Fireman. Glanz is just absolutely doing necessary what's needed. And look at the side of Wolverine as well. He's just making sure the damage goes off, and Iron Man is just confirming those up. And of course, you cannot deny the entire sheer space getting made from the side of Hulk. He's just absolutely not stopping. So these kind of like dives, doing the damage right upon their face. Again, I would say they need some kind of like the utility being in play. I don't know at this point of time. Even I'm a little bit clueless on how they can counter it out. But they need to figure out something. Oh, that's going to be the team up ability. It's going to just take him out to his lap, making sure he go onto the face of someone. Going to miss that part though, but he's just making sure that he stays alive, even though he's just able to just walk onto the back line of the opponent team. Look at the space that they have made in the first 2 minutes. Oh my god.
Yeah, now hitting that first checkpoint already, the clock up to 5 minutes. Decoy's looking strong once again, mostly uncontested push here since the very beginning of this map, somewhat uncharacteristic of a map like Midtown. Already ult economies in the favor of Decoys. 6 ults ready to go. Wolverine all coming out first. Effort finds K. Natty K gets his first KO there. Looking a little low, but of course Wolverine won't go down that easily. Waldo finds some kills. We are looking for more kills from Glance on the Iron Man. Death from above here. The triple quadra kill, I believe, according to the kill feed here. But amazing offensive performance here from Decoys. They are pushing mostly uncontested here, and they may be looking at the second checkpoint already. Still almost 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, and only 2 ults expended to get that control and get that mostly uncontested push. But SBA is going to look to clap back here. They've got 2 more ults waiting in the wings and 3 already ready to go. We see Mirza swapped over to the Storm. We were wondering about what strategies they were going to play. Looks like no Jeff Nato, though. I'd question that. Wow, already Glance once again getting in there and taking him out. Just knocking SBA down once again and dropping the Omega Hurricane on their heads, but no real impact from Mers on the Storm. He goes down as well. Decoys is looking incredibly strong once again as they approach that second checkpoint. A double kill for Everett on the Wolverine, and here we go. 5 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock. 2 checkpoints already completed, and they are looking to finish the third as strong as they started.
Oh boy, this kind of pick, even I'm clueless, man, right now, what they need to pick and what they actually just need to do at this point of time. Maybe just to stop up the entire backline, they might need to get someone like Iron Fist. There we go, it's going to be the side of Wolverine. Just drag the entire raccoon onto the face of the M1 because it was the guy was just completely just taking on the side of Rocket Raccoon solo. Hulk is more than ready with the ultimate play. That's going to be ultimate getting power from the side of QJ on the Hala, but that's going to get immediately counter and broken off from the side of 1v1 Decoys. Right now, I feel like it is more of the Hulk, Wolverine, and Iron Man doing the entire job. Of course, the support is there. The entire flex role is also being in play from the side of invisible movement. But it's more of like all of these 3 heroes just making sure nobody gets up to the front. Everybody just getting picked off as soon as they remain visible onto the face of 1v1 Decoy. So it's just getting very hard for the side of SPA to think of some kind of like a different strategy being in play. It's really hard, man.
Yeah, a really, really tough situation to be in. 4 minutes on the clock here with just inches to go for Decoys to close this map out. Very, very few deaths on the part of Decoys. Again, Glance with another Iron Man play from above. So many kills for him this game. And like you said, firing on all cylinders. DPS doing their job. Healers sustaining. Duck on the Magneto, just swallowing up all that damage that SBA is trying to put down. They are looking for anything here to just try and grab onto. But with less than a meter to go, they finish the map with 3:37 left on the clock. You are reading that correctly. 3.5 minutes still remaining for Decoys. Now we are switching sides, and man, it is absolutely Decoys win game to win from top to bottom here.
Maybe to counter these kind of flyers and divers together, maybe Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange is still available. He has not been banned. Maybe Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch combo can help. Maybe I am wrong, but I have seen, in ranked matches, I completely get started off with the Scarlet Witch combo. So hey, don't get me wrong. I mean, don't take a pun on me. But yeah, I have seen myself getting obliterated with that combo. So maybe that combo can help where you are actually playing a lot of these dive-based characters. But also, if they are, making overextensive play with Hulk, you have Namor open. You can take up that combo to counter the entire players coming up from the side of Ultron and Iron Man. That's 2 of the counters being in play. And the same squids can be used to actually put up a lot of that, I would say, the support against the side of Wolverine. So some of these team up ability needs to get picked up from the side of SBA. I don't think right now they're planning to do so, but hey, it's all up onto their side right now how they want to just approach this entire, I would say, second round of the payload push convoy. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like they're going to opt. Ultron, I know he's a strategist, but almost like an off DPS a little bit. They're going to opt for some hero changes here to just try and look for something to get something going here on Midtown. As Decoys is looking to close this thing out, it looks like Sebastian may go down and Canvas, goes down right off the bat here. Decoys looking to just push him up against the wall here and keep him as we swap sides and SBA starts an offensive run. 3:30 left on the clock, as you can see there for Decoys as we're swapping sides here. Not a lot for them to worry about here. SBA has got to make some kind of big play here, make a statement in this match, and they are not going to find it just yet. Just trying to take control of the card and get something moving here for them, but Decoys is in control. Whatever few inches the SBA may have pushed it out, they're going to push right back to that front door. And even in spite of the swaps, they're staying versatile. I like it. I like to see that they recognize the strategy they have isn't working, but they're just not finding anything that's allowing them to get in this match. It's been Decoys from the very start of this thing, and they are looking to finish it as the number one in this matchup.
Yeah, this is more about the decision making in play, man. They need to be flexible with it. Don't get me wrong, I totally support the decision to stick with the heroes that you want to play, but it's not working out for you. Iron Man and Ultron, great pick, but you have Iron Man and Ultron right up on the face. There we go, a triple kill coming up with that maximum pulse. Canvas Tuesday, that's going to be one of the supports going down. Yes, it's going to be the side of Cloak and Dagger to actually spot out that there's going to be no maximum pulse being in play, and she can actually put up a lot of that space coming up from his Cloak and Dagger ult, but you need to have your teammates with them. We do see now the payloads getting pushed up a little bit, but we still have more than 4 guys right on the face. The second maximum pulse being up from the side of SPA, that's going to take up some damage. Not going to be a straight up kill, but that's going to be the side of Ultron go down from the side of Iron Man. That's going to be a counter pick coming up from the side of Ultron, but it's going to be the side of Emma Frost. Take her down immediately. That's going to be a Wolverine. So it's back-to-back strategies just getting interchanged. It's not about even the strategy right now. It's all about the individual plays which is happening in from the side of 1v1 Decoys.
Yeah, it almost feels like SBA is a bit scrambled here. They're kind of just throwing themselves at the cart hoping for somebody to be able to hang on and get some progress. They have made a little bit, maybe a fifth or a fourth of the way there, but Decoys is just not going to let them get anything here. 1:40 left on the clock for SBA to make a move. Otherwise, Decoys is going to close out not only the map, but the set. 2-0, of course. Waldo with the Monster Hulk there looking to just keep pushing people off that card, keeping SBA from making any kind of offensive progress here. Less than 1:30 to go. Alt economy is in their favor. The map advantage is in their favor. I mean, everything is stacked against SBA here. It is going to be a Herculean task for them to make some kind of comeback here. Lance, again with the maximum pulse, finds another target. Only 1 kill this time, but still enough to slow the roll of SBA here as they are looking to just close this thing out. It has been Decoys from the very beginning, and just no real vital signs here from SBA, unfortunately.
Yeah. There we go. To counter the Cloak and Dagger, that's going to be Luna Snow popping off the ult. That's going to be maximum pulse. Might get one. Not going to happen. That's going to be high to take the entire Iron Man down ult with the dive. We do see Marisa bringing up that stall ultimate, making sure she can get some damage. There we go. Possibly a double wipeout. Not going to happen. Iron Man is right up with their secondary fire. So it is more about the result, man. Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm saying this way too often, but hey, it is the result of them being very rigid on their previous hero composition that they have changed. They need to little bit kind of study the entire team up abilities on how it can be way too more effective in some of these diver based composition. So again, it's great to see them doing little bit well compared to what we saw them in the round number 1, but not getting the entire payload out for at least like 100 meters says a lot on how win-win decoys are just better.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've seen a couple things here that maybe some touch-ups here and there. Murs with those Omega Hurricanes kind of just dropping them like solo alts, and it's just not impactful enough to really put a dent in Decoys despite their best efforts. Wow, nice double kill on the Monster Hulk there from Waldo, just taking the fight to the sky in spite of Hulk not being able to fly at all. And SBA has managed to get the overtime going, and they're still hanging on to the card here. The fight's not over yet, but half of SBA is down. Decoys is all up. King with the Ultron ult from above. Extermination as he's looking to to just keep the team sustained as much as possible through that cloak and dagger ult from Maddie over on the side of SBA. And yeah, we're at least seeing some fighting on the card here in overtime, but it may be too late for SBA to mount a comeback. Duck opening up the Doctor Strange portal behind them, looking to just drop in and finish this thing off. Aya Nagamoto finds its mark, and now they are all going down. SBA is aced. There is nobody there to stop Decoys from closing out the map. No points contested for SBA. It is a 2-0 victory for Decoys.
Yeah, and this was an actually a 2-0. It was more of like one team being very supremely, well in terms of on how they are just able to understand on how they just want to approach the entire play. But hey, Clancy doing the most of the damage, most of the kills. It is going to be him being the MVP with 46 elimination and just 1 death. And that was that. Again, like I told you, man, they are playing Hulk. I don't know why they didn't pick the Namor and Hulk combo. I'm just not able to understand. Either they don't know for a fact that, or actually somebody from the side of who's playing in the tank Twitch. It was the side of Twitch is Jay. It was also that one time where we did saw. I think it was Sebastian or Canva switching up to that one Vanguard. Maybe they don't know how to utilize Hulk. Maybe they don't understand how they wanna play it, because they might have not played it for the previous on some of their previous games, so they don't know how to utilize him pretty well. But hey, when you have Hulk and a more combo going on, it automatically does up a lot of damage for your team. So it was, just not able to understand the entire play. It was more of like that.
Yeah, I understand. It almost feels like picking the hero because they're pretty comfortable on him, or at least strong with him, but not fully utilizing the synergy between heroes. And, of course, being the Marvel Universe, that's what it's all about. It's all about the team ups. But, doesn't really stop them here. I think the numbers there you saw really, really tell you everything. Just single-digit elims across the board for SBA. DPS not able to really get anything going. I mean, not enough sustain to stay alive. Just, it's night and day between these two teams. And again, like we talked about, a lot of it's about gaining that experience and learning from some of these other teams. And you have to start somewhere. So I don't want to completely discredit SBA. This is a place for teams like this to get their, feet wet in competitive Marvel Rivals, stepping up from that ranked level to the esports competition level. So, very, very well played by Decoys, of course. Textbook kind of start to finish, just closing it out and picking up another win in the Swiss competition. So great for them. SBA continues to search for that first win here. I think at a certain point it's, we were talking about most of this game, like we don't know how you come back from something like this. It's very devastating, but back to the drawing board. They have some more tape, they have some more experience, and looking for SBA to keep shoring up their game as we progress. So really solid stuff from Decoys. So I think we're going to go ahead and go to break here as we get ready for our third matchup of the day. Don't go anywhere. More Grassroots Marvel Rivals action right after this. They immediately busted out of the lead, and now here we are at the last few meters of the map, plans with the judge, jury, and executioner, trying to do anything they can to see what this thing on the wall, throwing everything they've got. This is trying to finally put a stop to this absolute offensive tear that Ryan Wander has been showing us since the start of this map. Decoys may have hit the map. They immediately busted out of the opening room, and now here we are at the last few meters of the map. Glance with a judge, jury, and executioner trying to do anything they can to see what can stick to throwing everything they've got, just trying to finally put a stop to this absolute offensive tear that Orion Wander has been showing us since the start of this map. Decoys may have picked the map.
I'm clueless now. Right now, what they need to pick and what they actually just need to do at this point of time. Maybe just to stop up the entire backline, they might need to get some on towards the back, on towards the face of because the cabin system inside of Hulk is more than ready with the play.
But still enough to slow the roll on this play here as they're looking to just close this thing out. It has been always very understandable. So no real final signs of this one.
There we go. Counter at the counter attack. It's going to be Luna's popping up there. That's going to be maximum. Not gonna happen, right? Man is right up the chairs again.
Maybe some touch-ups here and there. Murs with those Omega Hurricanes kind of just dropping them like solo ults, and it's just not impactful enough to put a dent in Decoys despite their best efforts. Wow, nice double clap. SBA is down. Decoys is all up. King with the Ultron ult from above. Extermination as he's looking to just keep the team sustained as much as possible. possible through that cloak and dagger. Not in and finishes it off. Ayamato finds its mark, and now they're all going down. SBA is ace. There is nobody there to stop decoys from closing out the map. No everything they have. The last opportunity they've got to try and do something to stop the right one. A non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Island. A non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Island. They immediately busted out of the opening. Now here we are at the last few meters of the map. Glance with a judge, jury, and executioner trying to do anything they can to see what can stick to the wall, throwing everything they've got, just trying to finally put a stop to his absolute offensive tear that Orion Wanderer has been showing us since the start of this map. You know, decoys may have picked the map here. They immediately busted out of the opening room, and now here we are at the last few meters of the map. Glance with a judge, jury, and executioner trying to do anything they can to see what can stick to throwing everything they've got, just trying to finally put a stop to his absolute offensive tear that Orion Wanderer has been showing us since the start of this map. You know, decoys may have picked the map up.
Listener, right now, what they need to pick and what they actually need to do at this point, maybe just to stop up the entire backline, might give someone towards that, not with the face of
but still enough to slow the roll in this game as they're looking to close this thing out. Just no real vital signs.
There we go. To counter the cloak and dagger, that's going to be Luna Snow popping off the ult. That's going to be maximum for the die. To Lucy Marisas, that's all. I'm sure she can get some damage. There we go. Possibly a double wipe out. Not going to happen. Right man is right up in there. Second fire.
I've seen a couple of things here. Maybe some touches here that burst with those on the hammer. They just kind of dropping them like solo balls. It's just not impacting. Despite the best damage. Wow, nice double kill. Half of SBA is down. Decoys is all up. Team with the Ultron all from above. Extermination as he's looking to just keep that team sustained as much as possible. Through that cloak and dagger. Off in and finishes it off. Ayamato finds its mark, and now they are all going down. SBA is ace. There is nobody there to stop decoys from closing out the map. Everything they have, the last opportunity they've got to try and do something to stop Orion Wanderer. It's been almost a non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Islands. It's been almost a non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Islands. They immediately busted out of the opening room, and now here we are at the last few meters of the map. Glance with a judge, jury, and executioner trying to do anything they can to see what can stick to the wall, throwing everything they've got, just trying to finally put a stop to his absolute offensive tear that Orion Wanderer has been showing us since the start of this map. You know, decoys may have picked the map. They immediately busted out of the opening room, and now here we are at the last few meters of the map. Glance with a judge, jury, and executioner trying to do anything they can to see what can stick to throwing everything they've got, just trying to finally put a stop to his absolute offensive tear that Orion Wanderer has been showing us since the start of this map. You know, decoys may have picked the map up.
Right now, what they need to pick and what they actually need to do at this point, maybe just to stop up the entire backline, might give someone towards that, not with the face of Hulk is more than ready with the ultimate play. That's going to be ultimate
time, but still enough to slow the roll of SBA here as they are looking to just close this thing out. It has been decoys from the very beginning. And, yeah, just no real vital signs here from SBA.
There we go. To counter the cloak and dagger, that's going to be Luna Snow popping off the ult. That's going to be maximum for the die. That's all. And get some damage. There we go. Possibly a double wipe out. Not going to happen. Right man is right up in there. Second fire.
Double kill. Half of SBA is down. Decoys is all up. He's with the Ultron all from above. Extermination as he's looking to just keep the team sustained as much as possible through that cloak and dagger. All drop in and finish this thing off. Ayamato finds its mark, and now they are all going down. SBA is aced. There is nobody there to stop decoys from closing out the map. No photos alter everything they have. The last opportunity they got to try and do something to stop Orion Wanderer. It's been almost a non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Islands. It's been almost a non-stop push since the very beginning of this map. Not characteristic of Spider Islands. They immediately busted out of the opening room, and now here we are at the last few meters of the map. Glance with a judge, jury, and executioner trying to do anything they can to see what can stick to the wall, throwing everything
out what they need to pick and what they actually just need to do at this point of time. Maybe just to stop up the entire backline, they might need to get some on towards back, on towards the face of because I was just completely different side of it. So Alec is more than ready with the ultimate play. That's what we understand.
But still enough to slow the roll. They're looking to close this thing out. Well, hello and welcome back, Rivals, to more Marvel Rivals Grassroots Weekly Action. Week number 2 here. We have seen two very different sets here. First, 1v1 Decoys versus Orion Wanderers, a very close knockdown, drag-out fight. And we just concluded watching Decoys play SBA, a very commanding win for the 1v1 squad there. And so, yeah, they leave SBA still looking for the first win here in this series. Really crazy stuff from Decoys. I mean, absolute lockdown in every sense of the word. So, yeah, they're looking really strong. So, yeah, curious to see where we're headed next here.
I guess our third matchup is going to be between, IV1 Decoys are still left to battle with Doncor, maybe, for our next matchup here on the broadcast. I'm not really sure. We'll get to know about pretty soon, folks. And we have also requested the same from the prod team to just get us notified. But yeah, I would say a great set of matches being played is the side of SPA, Doncor, which happened off stream. Doncor was able to pick up that victory, even though SPA was like, were not able to put up a very great fight against side of 1v1 Decoy. So they're still, trying to find that first victory here at Marvel Rivals Grassroots Weekly presented by Engage Esports. But for the side of 1v1 Decoy, it's overall a very, I would say, great storyline being in play. 1v1 Decoys, they have, got up the Swiss score of 4 that they have lost to, 1-2 in terms of the overall game count, and set count is still 50%. But it is going to be a side of Orion Wanderers, which is going to get decided if they are actually able to win up against the side of Doncor. If yes, they're going to be the team to remain at the top of the standings for this week overall standings. But if not, things can take up a very interesting take in the overall standings of today's matchups.
Yeah, we've been kind of saying Doncor is like the Virtus Pro of MRGR so far, but as we know, Rad Esports recently in week 1 of Ignite knocked them down into the lower bracket of competition. So always possible for a David to top a Goliath for sure. I do believe, if I remember correctly, looking through the MRC standings in game, I do believe I saw Doncor's name competing in the round of 256 tomorrow. So this is kind of like warm-up matches for them, getting ready for that MRC performance and competing for an Ignite Stage 2 invite. So, like we said, this is kind of like seeing the future stars of Rivals Esports kind of in their earliest form. And for Doncor, that may be a reality. And, I'm sure they're not the only ones competing in the MRC. So yeah, I think ultimately, that's really the next step, and that's kind of what the platform here exists. It's kind of like a launch pad for these teams to progress beyond just, once you hit, Eternity or Celestial or One Above All, what do you do next? And the answer is you move into something like the Grassroots series by Engage. So really happy to be here as part of that platform and offer some of these teams a spotlight that they may not have had access to before.
Yeah, I mean, it is all part and parcel of the competitive career that you have. You got, we were talking about it. You gotta take some, very early, I would say, losing streak if you want to just excel at the entire, I would say, overall play that it's going to happen, which is going to come up in your entire, I would say, competitive career from our levels. I mean, the entire game is still pretty new. So if you are able to just understand all of the mistakes coming up very early from your side, your team composition side, your team coordination side, you are able to, just analyze and make those adjustments for your future plays. It's all fine. But right now, folks, it all depends, on how things are going to happen between the side of Orion Wanderers and Doncor. The match is still in progress, if I'm not wrong, as I know the website start.g says the same. But overall, I still feel like Orion Wanderers have, done a pretty good job of just, making a comeback in the overall stages of the game. How they were able to just answer it back one by one to every other, I would say, the team set point action coming up from the side of 1v1 Decoys was absolutely crazy. Oh, there we have it, folks. Doncor have defeated the side of Orion Wanderers with an overall score of 2-1, if I'm not wrong. So it is going to be either the side of Doncor Dawncore and 1v1 Decoys in the next broadcast game, or either the side of SBA facing up the side of Orient Wanderers. I mean, SBA and Orient Wanderers can be one-sided, don't get me wrong, but for the side of 1v1 Decoys facing up the side of Dawncore, that can be a very, very, I would say, a head-to-head game.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. We watched Doncor and Eclipse, the other 1v1 squad, play last week, and it was pretty close. I don't know a lot about the org, the 1v1 org or group that's behind those couple of teams, but I was wondering after last week, what's the overlap here in terms of like coaching resources and management, or in terms of strategies. Very interesting though to hear that. I think that may be the first map that Doncor has dropped in the MRGR so far. I know we took a look at the week 1 stats a little while ago. So interesting. Somebody has finally poked a hole in them, and like we were talking about, we said Virtus Pro equivalent almost in this level of play, and Virtus had started dropping some maps leading up to that loss with Rad. So now the question is, has somebody found a weakness? Have Doncor been downloaded, and now somebody has an opportunity for a big win here? And it looks like going into round 3, Doncor is going to be facing the 1v1 Decoys. So the question is, can they do it? Can they be the ones that pick up that first win against what has been a very dominant squad since day 1?
Yeah, let's see, man. I mean, we have seen some of the top teams who were able to perform really well in week 1, falling off to Orient Wander. So anything can happen in a very team-based game like Mao Rebel. So it all comes down to the in-game decisions, all comes down to hero compositions, which, I mean, I'm focusing a lot on the word hero composition, which is absolutely necessary, because we just saw an example of what SPA did in their matchup against the side of 1v1 Decoys. But for the side of 1v1 Decoys as well, they have won one today, lost one today. So it's like a overall, I would say, and roller coaster ride for them as well. So yeah, only overall, time can tell what's going to happen in the overall what can happen in the upcoming matches.
Yeah, and a lot of things can change in a Swiss league where you have matches every single week. Doncor so far has been showing a dominant performance. Decoy's record is very good too, but a lot of things can change. There's still a couple more matches to be played today. There's still a whole other week of Swiss competition before we break out into that playoff bracket at the end. Yeah. So the teams that you see dominant 1 week in the league may next week start to fall out of contention, and things can really change. Yeah, like we talked about some of the hero composition stuff during the break too, and yeah, ultimately a lot of it comes down to when a hero's not working for you, like we saw with SBA. We saw the Hawkeye plays come out for them. When a hero's not working for you, you need to know when to swap off. But not just knowing when to swap and realizing, okay, this is not working out, I need something different. It's also about how do you swap to something that works with your team's synergy. Ultimately, I think part of SBA's downfall in that match is just maybe you're picking heroes that you're comfortable with or that you individually are good with. But the question is, like, is that what's best for the team? Is that what's ultimately the best thing for the squad at the end of the day? And so, yes, we are going to see it here, as you can see on your screen now. Doncor, the dominant team so far emerging in MRGR, looking to take on the 1v1 Decoys. Once again, welcome back. We are in Hell's Heaven here for domination. And the question on my mind now is, who is going to be in hell on this map and who is going to be in heaven as we get started? Picks and bans already. Doncor hovering the Magneto. I mean, either you see Magneto banned first or you see Emma Frost banned first. Interestingly, today, I feel like the story with picks and bans has been, as you can see now with Decoys, Emma Frost has been saved a lot. I don't know that I've actually seen her get banned once so far, so they're just continuing kind of the same streak of bans that we've seen across the board.
Yeah, things can be a little bit interchanged. Things can be a little bit, I would say, go wrong for either side. But we do see in terms of the overall save, both of them have gone for the protection on for the side of Emma Frost. I mean, Emma Frost being absolutely meta right now, we know and for a fact that both of the teams are just going to save her up. Even though, yes, we do see Duck Awesome was hovering on Magneto. Now he has gone into, ban up the side of Magneto coming up from side of 1v1 Decoys, and it also makes sense. Magneto is one hell of a tank, which requires so much time to actually just, kill him off in terms of overall shield and overall HP that he has in the game right now. Loki is going to be the third ban coming up from the either side, and now it's going to be the first protection, or actually the second one coming up from the side of 1v1 because we do see Adam or maybe Rocket Raccoon. We do see the confirmation coming up pretty soon, anytime now. And that's going to be with the Soldier. Oh, things are getting really interesting right now, to be honestly speaking. We still have one ban protection left, though.
Yeah, and knowing Dawncore, not a bad choice at all. Frostin really cooked on Winter Soldier last week, so probably looking to capture some of that magic again. But for the most part, I feel like pretty standard picks and bans here. Nothing too out of left field, you know. Even the Ultron ban, I feel like coming out from Decoys, we do see that. That I wouldn't say it's the most common ban for sure, but especially right after 2.5 dropped, definitely a lot of people do not want to see Ultron played, so they're going to shut that down. No flying healers for the side of Dawncore this time. So now we're down to the end here. Decoy is going to save Invisible Woman as their last one, and Dawncore has one last opportunity to ban something out, hamstring Decoys any way they can right at the bat, and they are snap going for the Human Torch there, but maybe rethinking it a little bit. So yeah, I think, you know, going into a map 1 situation like this, especially for teams that haven't clashed too many times or don't know each other that well, I feel like this is a pretty standard spread of picks and bans.
Yeah, pretty standard. I mean, say overall, this is I would say a very like a kind of like a textbook ban coming up from both sides, but it is more of like some of these bans are looking somewhat around that how they want to just play some of these favorite, I would say, heroes. I'm not sure what exactly and why exactly you want to protect Winter Soldier if you don't want to, you know, switch up when it's required, but even it's kind of like same for the side of Manu and Decoys as well. They have gone to protect the side of Invisible Woman, but I don't see anyone right now at least picking up Invisible Woman. So strange, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Knowing Dawncore, a lot of these picks, if you've seen them before, look pretty familiar. Tree Man on the Groot, of course, living up to his name as usual. Oh, maybe not. The Penny Parker swap last minute, perhaps? Kizaru on Emma Frost was a game changer for Dawncore last week as well. And of course, like we talked about before, Frostin on the Winter Soldier. They really have a strong squad from top to bottom. So we've seen a lot of really, really solid gameplay from Decoys all day long. But now the question is, can they topple the Titan that is Dawncore as we move once again, one more time back here on Hell's Heaven for some domination action? The doors are open, and now it is Decoy's uphill battle to fight here, as Dawncore are probably going to be looking for a very early capture, as is characteristic of that team.
Yeah, let's see what's gonna happen. This was like a very interesting combination from both sides, man. Don't get me wrong. We do see the Wolverine coming in, and that Groot is gonna put up a lot of that, wine walls, which can cause a lot of that trouble. Honestly speaking, though, we do see now strains happening in from the side of Wendigos, which are absolutely needed in some of the previous games as well. But they did the job anyway. We do see right now them actually just pondering upon the face of Groot, and Tree Man is gonna go down. That's gonna be the side of Adam Warlock getting rezzed up due to his passive ultimate in play. We do see still the side of 1v1 Decoys picked up a good fight, and now it's going to be the side of Downcore. Frosting comes up on the face. It's going to be the side of Doctor Strange is going to get targeted for a little bit now. That's going to be the hook. Up on the face. That's going to be Jeff and Alonso. Storm both going down at the same time. What a play coming up with that Winter Soldier. He gets the third. Possibly looking in for the fourth, but that's Cloak and Ult. Dagger is gonna just stop the entire wrath of Winter Soldier for a while, and it is gonna provide so much value. Ooh, that's gonna be Winter Soldier. Drag him out of her ultimate and possibly taking her out. Boy, oh boy, that Winter Soldier protection is definitely working for the side of Dawncore right now. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, and no real surprises from them. They get that first capture. They take the fight to Decoys immediately, and they're already down 4 members here as Dawncore is sitting on 6 ults. Not a single one popped yet. All of this done via left clicks only, of course. So, yeah, continuing their dominant streak here. They're ready for this first team fight whenever Decoys decides to regroup and get back in there. I mean, again, we saw Frostin already. Triple kill on the Winter Soldier. Just continuing what we saw last week over and over again. Same story playing out here. They are very dominant on domination. It's been one of their strengths throughout this entire event so far, and that is they're just continuing to deliver on that, and still waiting for those ults. Lumique on the Mr. Fantastic, activating that ult, bouncing up and down here, putting down some damage on Decoys. Frostin is able to find Duck there, and Tree Man finds Glance underneath all of that damage being put down from Mr. Fantastic here, and they are just looking to maintain control of this point. 50% of the way there on one capture so far. Really looking strong here right out of the gate. Decoys is going to have to regroup as they get some ults charged up here, and Frostin finds Waldo as well. A very nice pick from him, just continuing to try and put pressure on Decoys, taking out some key members of that squad, preventing them from getting into a big team fight.
Yeah, At this point of time, I feel like that Winter Soldier protection is working right now, and it's going to happen the same from the side of 1 because now we do see a little bit of change. Glancing going on, Punisher King coming up with that invisible movement. There we go. Fantastic Four can do a lot of that damage with that Groot combination. Now they have to back off. Clancy popping up that Cloak and Dagger popping off that ultimate. That's going to be a risk coming up from the side of Rocket Raccoon as soon as possible. That's going to be a lot of the ults happening at the right same time because they want to get onto the point so badly and desperately. And then Dangerous provides that value. That's going to be that ult. Invisible Woman come up with the counter as well. Might be a little bit of change happening in from the side of 1v1 decoys. It's not going to get allowed from the side of Winter Soldier as Effort also pops in the ult at the same time. Froston is just making sure that he remains in the corner, waiting for the grappling hook to come out of the cooldown. But that's going to be overtime still alive. I don't think so that it will be the side 1v1 decoys to take up this one. As soon as the overtime comes into play, that's going to be Fantastic Four taking up the final hit. And that's going to be the second one. And it will be the side of Dawncore to push this round number 1 onto their bag. What a play coming up. Actually, from both sides in the end, there was a little bit of that very small ults getting getting whiffed from the side of 1v1 decoys. They would have just waited for maybe, a Doctor Strange to put up that portal, or maybe someone from the side of, Punisher to pop up that ultimate a little bit early, but they were actually waiting both, abilities to get used. So it was just a little bit of that, decision making, I would say, getting not coordinated properly well between the side of 1v1 decoys. But for the side of Dawncore, boy, oh boy, I just need more words in my vocabulary to appreciate the side of Frosty. Boy, oh boy, he's just absolutely crazy with the Winter Soldier right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was expecting to see from a player like him. 10 final hits in 1 point of domination as we move into the second. And I think the story of that first point for decoys can be too many resources expended and not enough payoff. They used the ults. They made an attempt to try and get on that point and start contesting it, but just too much. They just didn't leave themselves anything to follow up with. Now, as you can see here, going in with just one ult, Dawncore at least going to have 1 or 2 here charged up and ready to go for the first fight on this point. So decoys need to find a way to get a foothold here. Not a bad showing for them at all. Definitely, they're not out of this game, but Dawncore is just so insanely strong and has shown us so much stuff here. As we get into the fight, Judge, Jury, and Executioner, for a glance, looking to put down some damage, finds Tree Man, is able to chase Dawncore off the point here, and Decoys is looking a little bit stronger, finds another KO on the Punisher, a double kill there. Very nice multi-kill to get them started. Decoys have the first capture here on point number 2, and Dawncore is in some trouble. Kizaru ready for that ult, though. They will be ready for a team fight here very momentarily. And yeah, really nice stuff. A nice reversal there for decoys. Looked a little bit rocky on that first point, but yeah, they're able to weather the storm of Dawncore, at least to start here. The Tree Man is not going to let him last very long on this point. Already getting a couple picks here. Kizaru finds one too, and there we go. Continuing the streak here, Lunique on the Mr. Fantastic. An interesting pick, but a very successful one so far nonetheless, as decoys is wiped out, and this is Dawncore's point now. Only 27% captured on the side of decoys.
Yeah, right now it will be the side of decoy to actually find that missing part of the puzzle to just complete out. Now, Moon Knight is a great pick on a very, I would say, closed structure map like this, but can he get utilized pretty well? It's going to be the main question. Effort has the ultimate, Waldo has the same. And we do see not exactly the counter picks coming up to play, exactly a mirror composition coming in play from the side of 1v1 decoys, and that's a smart one to do from the side of 1v1 decoys. Right now, Effort just making sure that he gets an opportunity to just pop up that again and again, and maybe possibly do a little bit of that wonder. That's going to be Frosty take down the side of Waldo. That's going to be Fantastic Four, just right on the face of Moon Knight. A very good ultimate play coming up from the side of Lumic, and that's going to be another set of vibe coming up from the side of Dawncore. So things are getting a little bit, I would say, not right for the side of 1v1 decoys, and Dawncore are just playing it so absolutely well at this point of time.
Yeah, what we thought was going to be rough waters for Dawncore going into this point has turned in their favor. You know, on the pick and ban phase, I questioned the Reed Richards pick. You don't see him a lot. I do enjoy Mr. Fantastic, and Lumique has been putting on a show, really showing what the Fantastic Four's leader is capable of here. Froston's been hanging on to this ult for quite a while now. Effort's holding on to it too. We may see a Winter Soldier v Winter Soldier. Decoys have the ult advantage here. Waldo throwing down the Groot to try and just find some picks here and get something going in this team fight, but it is not going in their favor. Dawncore weathers the storm here. Alvium finds a kill on Cloak and Dagger on the outside there. Decoys is down. Ace for Dawncore once again, and now they have got to get up. Glance swaps to the Doctor Strange to try and get that portal going. He may have just enough time to at least initiate overtime, but Decoys is in trouble here as Dawncore looks to secure Hell's Heaven and take their first win in this series.
4 ultimates is going to be the call. We do see the first one getting popped up, but that's going to get ultimately countered up again and again. Big in play from the side of Frost. They're looking at a quad kill coming up from that Winter Soldier. Boy, oh boy, what just happened? Froston, you crazy boy! Oh my god, what was that? Absolutely bonkers! Sheesh.
Nobody embodies armed and dangerous more than Froston himself. The man is armed and he is dangerous. An insane match for him as he picks up a well-deserved MVP here. Just, you know, if this is exactly what I wanted to see, this is what I thought Dawncore would show going out here. 29-1, only 1 KO on the Bucky here as Dawncore picks up that huge win there. Only single-digit elims across the board for Decoys, and they are struggling here a little bit. Some bright spots here and there. Duck does, again, pick up a huge amount of damage block, 23k, very nice. And King as well picking up the most healing. So Decoys are definitely putting up a fight. We saw in that second point, they took an early capture, which is very characteristic of Dawncore, taking that first cap on most of these domination points we've seen them on. So I don't think they're out of this fight at all. I think, you know, it's just kind of getting outplayed here, and Dawncore is doing a good job of cleaning up or taking out some very key players for the Decoys here and just making it almost impossible for them to really keep up in a lot of these team fights. So great stuff from both sides, really. A nice back and forth.
I mean, if you're like me, still not able to process what just really happened, I was just looking at the replay right up on my second screen. That was the ultimate getting triggered about from everybody. It was the side of 1-1 Decoys. That was Emma Frost popping off the ultimate. It was the side of Effort, who was a little bit late, but that first ultimate came off from the side of the Fantastic Four, who was able to do so. He was able to provide that damage, and that to follow up onto that same stance, it was the side of Frost 10 to confirm up with those one singular shots, and that was complete team wipe in just matter of 3 seconds from the side of Dawncore. So that was some really, I would say, a coordinated play coming up from the side of Dawncore. But overall, still, I would say 1-1 Decoys, they are getting a taste of their own medicine, I would say.
Yeah, Dawncore, they have so much synergy. There's a chemistry in that team that you see from like tier 1 org affiliated teams. You know, they are able to execute. You know, they drop that Doctor Strange portal and then they just let loose coming out of it, and that was able to just it's crazy. They play so beyond everyone else in this tournament so far. But Decoys is really showing a lot of fight. I mean, you know, that second point, they really started to turn things up, and maybe they just need a little momentum to catch and start turning the tide in their favor. So I definitely look for map 2 to be even more contentious than that first one. I feel like that was the story with Decoys in the beginning. You know, I feel like a little slow to start, but once they pick things up, man, they really kill it. So yeah, just looking for more of that from both sides for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we have to just wait and watch what happens from the side of 1-1 Decoys. For now, like you said, the strategy, the overall coordination, the overall, I would say, the way how this plays is completely, I would say, kind of like a tier 1, a tier 2 team coming up from their side. But for the side of Dawncore, they have definitely got that reality check. I mean, it was the side of Orion Wonders to completely cut them off in their first match, but I was not expecting that maybe where Dawncore is right now sitting at in terms of the overall standing can do the same to the side of 1-1 Decoys. But it was, I would not say a very dominative win coming up from the side of, Dawncore, but it was more of like looking like 1-1 Decoys are not able to just figure out what's going wrong. Some of these ultimates, yeah, they were really well timed. Some of these, I would say, picks were really well timed, but not able to just understand where you can actually just counter out the entire play coming up from the side of Winter Soldier. Kind of tells you a lot about how they have actually played some of these dive-based heroes and against the side of Orion Wanderer. So a Winter Soldier, when he's able to just go against a dive-based duelist or Vanguard, it becomes very hard for the side of Winter Soldier to counter him out. So maybe those dives and flyers are absolutely needed at this point of time.
Yeah, I think it's going to take some big changes here, but I think that Decoys is capable of it. If anybody in the MRGR so far, of besting this very dominant team. So, map is in their favor now. They're going to go somewhere, pretty comfortable. I feel like Decoys so far, we've seen a lot of strength on a lot of different game modes for them. So, both very versatile teams. I feel like this is a very even matchup, really. I
100%.
wouldn't be surprised to see it go all the way to map 3. But yeah, looking at least to just stay alive to that point, of course. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just Dawncore feels like they're on another level. I didn't see as much, and I guess Hell's Heaven, a lot different of a map than others, but I feel like I didn't see as much of that environmental gameplay that the first couple sets I saw Dawncore play kind of really defined them for me. So, but they really showed. I think last week Tano really said it best. They're a team that bends, but they don't break. They're good at
Yeah.
facing a challenge and coming back from it. And that's exactly what we saw. They had to make a couple of retakes, and they did it with the grace that we've seen since the very beginning from them. So moving on, our next game mode going to be Convoy here, back on Midtown once again. The ceilings are raised here. Maybe going to see some more flyer gameplay. Not sure, but Decoys is looking for some kind of strategy that can catch here and take a map off of Encore.
Yeah, let's see, man. I mean, for the side of 1v1 decoys, I feel like they are that one team who know to actually play every other off meta and on meta characters pretty well. Sorry, heroes from our rebels. Yeah. So for the side of Dawncore, I feel like that is going to be the strongest point. We have seen Lagoon playing absolutely well with Spider-Man. We have seen play, Clange just popping off eliminations like anything with, the side of, the Punisher. Waldo, he knows every other Vanguard. So I feel like that is going to be one of the strongest trait being in play. That you need to experiment around the first minute or the second minute in this particular map of, Midtown. And of course, which is going to be round number 2 Convoy being in play. So I feel like they need to experiment out pretty soon and see what's working what's working right and what's not working exactly for their side. Maybe yes, some of these changes can be very offensive in terms of how we have seen some of the teams play with Hulk, some of these team play with Wolverine. So I think they need to figure that out, and I feel like that is one of their strongest traits in the entire MRGR. It needs to come out as soon as possible. For the side of Dawncore, they know what they are doing. They are pretty comfortable with it. So they're going to keep up the same hero composition and same kind of like a play style against that when decoys in round 2 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little surprised they didn't go for the Emma Frost ban, because if it's up, Kizaru will take it, and they do protect her along with decoys. Interesting choice on the Winter Soldier ban, though. I think they really want Frosted to have to dig deep here and go to another DPS, but we've seen him play other characters before, almost with as much finesse as he did that Bucky last round. So they can try to target ban him, but I think they might be a little surprised that he's got some more in his back pocket. Decoys rounding out their bans this time again with the Ultron. Kind of understandable. I think he is a little more successful on Midtown. I definitely see more flyer plays, and very smart to me. I like this save. I think keeping the Punisher for themselves, just in case Dawncore decides to opt for that flyer comp that works so well here on the streets of New York. So last ban up for Dawncore here. Match point for them going to Midtown on Convoy. There are your picks and bans. Saving Emma Frost and Punisher are decoys, and Loki and Emma Frost saved for the side of Dawncore. Of course, Kizaru locks in that Emma Frost very quickly, and now it is up to Frost, and we've seen him on several heroes. We've seen him on the Iron Man. We've seen him on the Hawkeye. Who is he going to pick this time? Tree Man, of course, also a very versatile Vanguard player. As you can see, going for the penny on defense. I like that pick a lot. I think that's great. That's a good opportunity for them to get a quick lockdown. And they do have the Rocket Raccoon team up with Maddie, of course. So going to be looking for them to do a total shutdown here of decoys and just not let them even set foot on the street.
Yes, sir. I mean, overall, like I said, the composition can look very, I would say, versatile from both sides. But at this point of time, we do see Clan's J picking up that Spider-Man and Waldo going up for that Hulk. So Waldo's going to just deviate the entire positioning coming up deviate the entire focus coming up from the side of Dawncore. But to counter that, Wolverine and every other dive-based and I would say those Vanguards, they have the Penny Parker and the Rocket Raccoon combo, which we were talking about for a very, very long time. But you see Clan's making a bit of that change. Now he's going to pick up that, Moon Knight. I don't know why am I getting these names sometimes wrong. Anyways, Clancy pick up that Moon Knight instead of that Spider-Man. So Waldo going up for the Square Girl, absolutely very necessary in some of these very close spaces when you're starting off at this point of the, I would say, the map. But right up Penny Parker, I am eyeing for that Penny Parker Spider Nest being in play. There we go. Rocket Raccoon set up in the both corner, and they're just playing it. As you know, folks, Penny Parker's secondary webs also heal her up for momentarily. 10, that was like 10 HP per second, or that is 7 HP per second.
Yeah, and a very interesting comp that Decoys has finally settled on. We do see a lot of teams go very DPS heavy on offense here to get out that front door. Of course, like you said, the Squirrel Girl pick, nice splash damage to try and scatter Dawncore off of that point. But also the Squirrel Stampede, of course, and Decoys is cooking here right off the start. 4 members of Dawncore go down. Kizaru opens the Doctor Strange portal. It's a huge walk back to the cart and a big opportunity for Decoys to sink their teeth into the offense on this one. A minute here, and Decoys is out the front door. They have survived one of the toughest parts of Midtown, in my opinion, and they are on the move here. But Dawncore is responding. Kizaru swapping over quickly to that Doctor Strange portal to try and take the fight right to them once again. Maddie already has the CYA, the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier up, giving his team that nice health and damage boost just to try and cook a little bit here and get some control over this matchup here. And they do manage to take the cart, and Decoys are sent running here as nice recovery from Dawncore. Again, bend, don't break, but of course, don't count Decoys out yet. They've got 2 ults. They've got another couple ults waiting in the wings here, and they be ready for a fight. Judge, Jury, and Executioner from Effort here as he's looking to just make his way out of the spawn room once again, just swinging hard, but not really finding anybody. Does find Frostin though. Does take out the Adam Warlock just an inch or 2 away from his ult. A huge opportunity here for Decoys to try and put some damage down. Mr. Fantastic swinging his fists around, trying to take out somebody on Decoys. Albion does find Effort in there, and Lumique finding Waldo too, just trading back and forth here. A pretty even matchup so far. Decoys, 2 minutes left on the clock and about halfway to the first checkpoint. Very nice double kill there for Lagon as well. So very, very back and forth contentious start to Midtown here.
Yeah, and it's great to see when Decoys are able to just hold the entire team Dawncore able to hold the side of when Decoys for a pretty good amount of time. Now we do see Clancy picking up that Winter Soldier. We just saw getting extensively used and utilized from the side of Frostin in the previous round. But right now we do see for the fact that Dawncore are right now getting challenged up from the side of Doctor Strange right on this particular part of the map. Everybody just gonna deviate and converge on the same position. They want to just take up that flanking approach being in play. One Decoys can be a little bit risky, but as soon as Emma Frost takes the side of Fantastic forward, everybody from the side of Vancore just pushes them back to the corner over there. So it's going to be a little bit of that touch and miss play happening in from both sides, waiting up for those ultimates to get pop off. Ulvium has one. Kizaru has the Eye of Agamotto, the same one coming up from side Rocket Raccoon as well. There we go. Ooh, straight up on the place. Lanze gonna pop that hook. Is gonna get one eventually. He has the ultimate also waiting, but Fantastic Four takes him out immediately as he gets the chance to do so. Both the ults getting popped off. Rocket Raccoon, Emma Frost, the counter ults are being in play. Possibly they can get one. That's gonna be Loki, God of Mischief. Is that support ult going in play? Not really.
Yeah, and Decoy's really trying to get back in this fight here. They already got half their team down. Plenty of ults for both sides here, but not a big explosion of a fight. Only 30 seconds left, and Dawncore has erased some of the progress that Decoy's made right out of the gate. They had a really strong start. They got out the front door, but now they've really struggled to get this cart pushed around the corner and up the block here. Only 15 seconds left for Decoys. They've got 4 ults ready to go, and they need to make a move right now. Glance is going to have to combo here with the Winter Soldier. Judge, Jury, Executioner for Effort once again. Hopefully he finds more than he did last time. Going after the front line of Dawncore here. Nothing really crazy, but does manage to take out a double kill there for Glance now on the Winter Soldier. Both sides showing they can both play Winter Soldier here. And of course, Frost in there with the Adam Warlock revive to keep Dawncore in this thing. Overtime is on here. 68 meters pushed for Decoys, about halfway there. Oh wow, big KO for Tree Man on Groot there. Looking to take out the Decoys and remove and erase that overtime clock here as Dawncore looks for it, and they find the ace. That will close out Decoy's offense, and now it is Dawncore's game to win here. Not what you want to see if you are on the side of Decoys.
Oh boy, I mean, they have 2 of the most, I would say, the highest HP containing, vanguards. You have Groot, who can go over 900 with the shields and the buffs combined if he's getting the same one. And same, I would say, for the side of Doctor Strange. They don't have that, I would say, very dive-based Vanguards and Duelist plays, apart from the side of what Fantastic Four Lumik is doing. For the side of 1v1 decoys, some things really got them working. That was one thing for the side of Winter Soldier that was in play from the side of Effort, and I guess there was side of Glance J picking up that one guy. But right now, look at that! 3 Vanguards and 3 healers. Hey,
yeah, we've seen it play out like this before. Yeah,
now they're feeling it.
Wow, yeah, way to stay versatile. I like that pick. Decoys they're not giving up. It's clear from the swaps here, they're really going to try to dig in and just stop Dawncore from getting this thing out. Interestingly, on the stats, they're pretty even, despite Decoys not making a ton of progress on offense there. So you can tell that they're pretty evenly matched, a lot of back and forth. And now it is up to Decoys here with the triple support, triple tank comp here. Going to be looking for any kind of lockdown they can. So they do go to they themselves are going for the Penny Parker Rocket Raccoon team up. They saw it work in the past for Dawncore, so now they're looking to capture some of that defensive magic that we saw from Dawncore. Not a lot of space to defend this thing. Their backs are up against the wall. Decoys looking to stay alive in this matchup and take it to a map 3. Here we go.
Oh boy, it's going to be really hard, man. All of these supports can provide a lot of their utility-based healing when it comes down to the face of the side of Decoys, but they are feeling it. Matty gets a double. Both of one of the supports and one of the ideal Vanguards are going to do down. The push has already started. Over here, Freeman's going to do a lot of that damage coming onto the back, and that's going to be provided a lot of that value. Glance able to take down the side of back. Sorry, the side of Frost and playing on the Moonlight. Freeman gets one more, and it is going to be really hard for the side of now the Dawncore to for the side of Decoys to actually just stop up the entire push. That's it, folks. It's going to be a lot of the damage, a lot of the Squirrel play. I would say for the side of Squirrel, he was able to get 2. Ooh! The portal comes in at the right time. The Illumination domain kicks in. The Moonlight ult also kicks in at the same time. Still have some of the plays left. Not really happen. A double for the side of Moonlight. That's going to be that. Dawncore finish it off with a 2-0 straight up. Not exactly a domination and a whitewash, but a really good play from the side of Dawncore. For the side of 1v1 Decoys, yes, some of these key changes was very interesting. Some of these, I would say, picks were very interesting. But I have to say, in the first map, it was the side of Frostin guy to do up the magic, coming up with the Winter Soldier. And now this was around, it was everybody's, team effort leading down to a 2-0 score line.
Yeah, and we saw there Decoys, of course, swapping out to the triple tank, triple support. But in response, Dawncore going for the 4 DPS, 1 tank, 1 healer, just to try and get out that front door. And it does pay off for him. A really quick map number 2 picked up for them here. And yeah, I can really appreciate Decoys not giving up on this fight. We saw that Waldo Doctor Strange portal to at least get him back in that fight, but they walked right into Frostin's Moon Knight also. Like we said, during the pick and ban phase, you can stop Frostin from picking up the Winter Soldier, but he can just play so many of these duelists that it's really hard to target ban a player like him out. And that versatility is what we're looking for. That is what sets you apart from your standard ranked player. So again, Dawncore just, this is the 3rd time that we've seen them on the broadcast overall since week number 1, and they continue to show us why they are currently the top team in the MRGR, why they're in the MRC, and why, they're making this jump from just your normal ranked players into some serious esports competition. So really, really great stuff from them back there.
Yeah, and that was that, folks. That was a really, I would say, a great fight coming up from all of these teams. And if I just want to talk about the standings in play, I feel it for a fact that in the round number 2 games, it was a bit more intense, where we just saw Oregon Wanderers and Dawncore going up against, and of course, 1v1 Decoys in SBA was like a straight up like a one-sided game. But also when we talk about the side of round number 1, SB and Dawncore was that one game. It was really, I would say, when close. But when Decoys and Orient Wonders, the first of the matches here at the broadcast, was just one hell of a fight getting picked up from both sides. It was a side of 1v1 Decoys to actually put up a really good show in the first round. But after that, it was a side of Orient Wanderers every now and then just pushing on to the overtime and getting those Ws. Overall, a great set of matches today, folks. In terms of the overall standings, I just want to take up a look at the website. It's going to be Dawncore sitting at the top of the entire 6 score point, and the game count of 6-0. with a difference of only 3 being on their side. Orient Wanderers almost doing the same, but yes, they did lost one of the overall game count, so that's going to put up in the score line of 2-2, and they have a 6 score. But SBS still trying to find that one victory, and One Win Decoy is standing at the 3rd spot for this week.
Yeah, it's the story repeated over and over again. Now Doncor 6-0 in overall series from week 1, so continuing the undefeated streak there, and it played out kind of how we were expecting it to. So really great stuff from them. Looking forward to week 3 and continuing that warpath they've paved for themselves. But that's all for us from the MRGR here for week number 2, closing out competition today. Bullet, thank you so much. It's been great having you. It's been great working with you today. Really appreciate it. Major shout outs to all the teams participating, and you too can get in on this if you are a team watching and looking for a place to play while the big fish play in the Ignite and the MRC ponds. If you're looking for somewhere to go, it should be right here with INGAGE GG and the MRGR. So big shout outs to our production team as well for putting on a wonderful show for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been Diatonic. We have been the MRGR, and we will see you next week.